The red carpet is laid down, the tuxes and limos rented, and the bars at the after parties are fully stocked. It's Oscar time, and on this supersized episode of View the Right Thing, Wes, Steve, and Desi bet on red and give you their takes on what to expect at Hollywood's biggest night of the year. And now, from sunny Southern California, it's time for a special Oscar episode of View the Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Des?
Indiana Jaws?
Oh.
Whoa, your own wife, dude! Your own wife! We made it.
That's not what it's called?
Every episode of this year, I've played ball, and even I have said, View the Right Thing. And your own goodly wife threw you a curveball. I'm sorry.
I thought I could count on you.
I'm sorry to everybody involved.
Clearly, I can't count on you.
If this is your first time listening to View the Right Thing, go back and listen to every other episode where I pester Wes by pretending to think that the title of the show is Indiana Jaws.
Indiana Jaws is our mascot.
Our mascot, yeah.
You can see on the cover photo on our Facebook page.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I should Instagram that again. I feel like it's been a while since we've sent that around.
Sure.
Yeah, probably.
It's been a while.
So it's been a couple weeks since the diner episode.
Yeah.
And
sure has.
It's Oscar time.
Gosh, it is, isn't it?
It is.
Wasn't it just New Year's Day?
I like how you say that like I'm surprising you with that news.
Because I'm
unstuck.
we're
talking about the Oscars
I'm unstuck in time, Wes.
Yes, unstuck.
I'm Billy Pilgrim over here.
Okay.
It was just 1981. It's still 1999. It's also 2017. But don't worry, because it's 2096. That's where I am every day of my life.
I worry about you
every
sometimes.
Every day of my life, Wes. Don't worry, be happy. Right? The hit song.
Sure, yeah.
Bobby McFerrin.
Over there. Okay. Well, it's trying to get in on the podcast.
Aw.
Des, how you doing?
I'm good.
You haven't been on the podcast in a while.
I have not. It's been quite a while.
Well, what episode were you on? Do you remember?
Yes.
How could you forget?
The one with pirates.
The one
with pirates.
Mutiny on the Bounty?
Yes, Mutiny on the Bounty.
Mutiny on the Bounty. What was the other movie with that, you think?
Gosh, that was so long ago.
It was a long time ago.
God, I don't know. Did we do two movies? I can't even
Way
remember.
back in season 1.
Yeah, I think we watched Mutiny on the Bounty and... Heck, I don't know. I could look in my phone.
Nah, it's okay.
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, I guess this would be considered season 3.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I mean...
Whoa.
We've had 2 Christmases, basically.
Ain't that the truth?
So we did some stuff in 2015, we did some stuff in 2016, and now it's 2017.
Wow, season 3 of View the Right Thing.
There will be no season 4 because we'll all be dead.
Whoa, wait, what?
Trump's America.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just teasing.
Man,
we're not getting...
way to bring it down, Wes.
We're not getting political, really. I'm just teasing.
Oh, man.
We plan to be just A-okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
As Nick Fury said, well, I forget. That line about the world spinning on.
That line from Nick Fury that said, I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah. Is the sun coming up? All right. Where are we first?
So I guess the question is, has anybody seen any trailers they want to talk about?
Technically, yes, but you shot me down before we started recording and said it was just a TV spot.
It was just a TV spot, and we've just talked about the trailer.
But now this is a new one.
It's not. Okay.
For Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Anyways, I did tell you could talk about a different one that was a TV spot.
Oh, yeah.
That was a real TV spot. We're
talking about the Duffer Brothers and Netflix coming at you with Stranger Things Season 2.
Yeah.
Even stranger things when the kids watch Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's what you got out of it?
Yep.
Is that it? That's all you wanted to say about Stranger Things Season 2?
Well, we have to wait until Halloween to watch it.
How brutal is that?
Yeah, geez,
Very
forever
brutal.
away.
Yeah. Very brutal.
They gave us a summertime last time.
Yeah, and what they did well with Stranger Things Season 1 was they, advertised it a little, but it was like, oh, I don't know what that is. So when it shows up, I'll watch it. And now that I know how good it is and that I've got to wait so very long for season 2 to get here, it hurts is what it does.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do without Cara Buono for all these months?
It's kind of like them going, hey, Game of Thrones is going to be delayed by several months.
Yeah, well, Game of Thrones can F off already.
Whoa.
Yeah, I said it. It needs to end already. I love it. It's absolutely
it's
a great
going
show,
to.
but end it because it's just homework now.
It's going to.
It's just a homework now. I've probably
gonna
been
end.
over this.
You need to just calm down. Des, how about you? Any trailers?
Yes.
What'd you see?
I saw the trailer for Cure for Wellness.
Ooh.
Dane DeHaan.
Yeah.
And?
It looks really cool. I have no idea what it's about. It looks super, like, sci-fi.
Do you want to know what it's about, or do you just want to go in not knowing anything?
No, I kind of, like, I mean,
because there's
like,
a trailer that actually explains what the whole movie's about.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I might have seen that at some point, but I kind of forgot. So if you tell me now, I'm just going to forget again before it comes out.
That's all right. Then let's just keep it a mystery then.
But it looks really beautiful,
It does look beautiful.
and that excites me.
Gore Verbinski.
There's also
Gore
really
Verbinski.
funny Spotify commercial for it right now.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's all like 12 months ago, this time last year, you made a promise to eat better, visit your friends more, and all this, it's like talking about like New Year's resolutions, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, this year, take the Cure for Wellness.
Oh.
Like it's like an
That's
ad
awesome.
for their services, kind of. And then
Scary.
it's like, available in theaters, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Ooh.
When does that come out?
Is
When
it-
is he-
February, I want to say 12th.
Now, is it true that movie is secretly Matrix Part 4?
I hope not.
Because that's what I just made up.
I'm trying to see when it comes out, what the release date is on it.
Didn't we see, where did I see some cool trailers?
146 minutes.
Oh, I went to a midnight screening and saw cool trailers of that.
Oh,
February 17th.
February
February
that's so
17th.
soon.
It is very soon. It's coming up.
What? So what did you say you just saw?
I went to a midnight screening of True Romance.
Oh, yeah. You guys got into that.
We managed to get in.
I know there was a question about whether or not you guys would get in.
Yeah, they had sold out weeks in advance, but they said the night of the show, maybe an hour before the show, maybe 15 minutes before the show, we're going to open the box office with 100 tickets. So take your chances. So we took our chances. We ate at Baba Ganoush right next door to the New Beverly Cinema.
Did you eat Baba Ganoush?
No, I ate some sort of a wrap. I think I ate a chicken wrap. Oh, no, it was called the King Tut wrap, and it was delicious. It had falafel in it, among other
I like
things.
falafel.
I do too. And so we stood in line, and we stood in line, and we stood in line, and then they opened the theater, I think just about 15 minutes, maybe even later, like tighter towards showtime. Got our tickets, only $8, which is killer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Got primo seats, third row from the front, but at the New Beverly, the screen is small enough. They did even third row from the front, and it's also far enough from the front row. So third row from the front, you're in prime territory.
Does Tarantino own that theater?
He does, as far as I know.
Yeah, because I've heard people say that that's Tarantino's theater, and I'm
Yeah.
always like, does he own it, or is it just like he does a lot of stuff there?
I'm pretty sure he owns it. Also, I remember the guy who introduced the movie then pointed out like some other events, and then he said, from now, for a while, Fridays at midnight are pretty much going to be the boss's night. So if it's a Friday at midnight, we're screening a Tarantino movie. Come on and give it a try.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool. But they played trailers for The Hunger, starring David Bowie and Susan Sarandon
Okay.
and Catherine Deneuve. And these are, classic trailers that they're whipping out for this thing.
Yeah.
They played trailers
awesome.
for Days of Thunder, which kind of rhymes with The Hunger.
Yeah.
With, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman and Bobby Duvall.
Who did the music in that? Was somebody...
Excuse me, I burped a little.
Did a band do the music?
I think it was Hans Zimmer.
Oh, was it Hans Zimmer?
I think so.
For some reason, I thought a band did a lot of music in it.
I forget exactly. Days of Thunder. Who did the music? We'll look it up.
Yeah.
And then
I have it on my iPod somewhere.
I forget what other trailer
I'm pretty sure it was
they played.
that famous band, the Archies.
The Archies. Thunder, bum, 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 bum. Oh,
Days
Just
Days
kidding.
of Thunder. Bum, 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 bum.
You
You're my Nicole
gasoline.
Kidman girl. Oh, Gasoline Girl. That would be so much better. I like it. So I saw those old trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've seen any other really new trailers. I still want to talk about a trailer for my friend's movie that I'm not allowed to talk about at all. But
Not
it's
yet.
awesome, and as soon as I can show it to you, I will.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, I can't tell you the title of the movie. I can't tell you what the trailer's about. So you're just going to have to wait
Yeah.
patiently.
I want to see a trailer for the movie that you shot last couple months ago.
A couple months ago. Oh, Ice?
Yeah, I'd like to see a
The one I
trailer for that.
Man, I would too. Ice is doing an Indiegogo. I think it's Indiegogo.com/Ice the movie.
When's it end? Indiegogo.
That I don't know for sure. But
I'll look while you're talking.
the bottom line is it's in full effect right now. Donate to the Indiegogo. You can also shop for some pretty cool Ice the movie merch. We're talking like, a jacket, a headband, a hat, that sort of thing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Support Ice
headband?
the movie. Yeah. It's a figure skating movie. Figure skaters wear a lot of headbands. They got to keep their forehead cold or warm, but still let their hair whip around. You know what I mean?
See, now that he says that, don't you really want to see Steve in a figure skating movie?
I
Yes,
sure do. So it's a
100%.
figure skating movie that I am, I guess you could say, a supporting character in. I think
Steve
I'm
plays the
very
ice skates.
supportive. I wish, man. I wish. So that's exciting. Yeah, look for Ice the movie and check out Indiegogo.com/Ice the movie.
I tried that.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, that didn't work?
Yeah. So then I just did a search for Ice the movie, and the very first thing it brought up was an ice maker. So
I'll say it. Not the same thing.
Isn't going well, Steve.
Well, you know what? I'll find the link and I'll tweet it and I'll tag VTRT in it so that our viewsters will see
I'm
that.
gonna try /Ice
I
the
have
movie
to sniffle
again.
real bad.
Oh no, he's sniffling again, you guys.
I always have to
Indiegogo.com.
sniffle. When a microphone gets in front of my face, I just have to sniffle. Oh, thank you, Des.
Ice the
Desi
movie.
gave me Walt the dog to wipe my nose on.
Yeah, he's really good for that.
I know. He barks at noises in the hallway. He doesn't bark at a grown man wiping his nose on his fur.
He doesn't
Page
care.
you were looking for is no longer available or has been moved.
What?
And then I did a search for Ice the movie. Are you sure it's Indiegogo, not Kickstarter?
I'm 99% sure it's Indiegogo. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Maybe
man.
it expired. Maybe the Indiegogo has run out.
Yeah, but usually the pages stay there.
I would think so.
All right. Well,
I'll do a search for it. You talk about the trailers you've seen.
I haven't really seen any trailers lately.
Nunsies?
I'm trying to think. I've been trying to think of one. There was something a memory was sparked. I was flipping through some box art.
Yeah.
And saw a picture of Amanda Seyfried. And I remembered that there's a movie coming out with her and Shirley MacLaine that I thought looked really good, where she plays an obituary writer.
Oh, yes! It's like the name of the woman in the movie. It's like the movie title.
Shirley MacLaine as a writer of obituaries?
No.
No.
Amanda Seyfried is the writer of obituaries, and she's Shirley MacLaine's this like hard ass teacher who is getting older. I can't remember if they say if her doctor tells her she's dying or not, but she doesn't let anybody do anything on their own. She always like dictates what everything is, so she decides she's going to dictate her own obituary.
Wow. So she's a control freak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Amanda Seyfried goes on this quest to find people to, tell stories or whatever to put in her obituary, and they're all like, "Yeah, I hate that lady."
Yeah,
Yikes.
and I thought it looked great.
It did look really great.
She's
found it.
She's in Twin Peaks.
Who is?
Amanda Seyfried.
In the new Twin Peaks that's coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, man, maybe we shouldn't be telling people that.
Oops, spoiler.
Twin Peaks is supposed to be
Spoiler.
mysterious at all times. All right, I found Ice the movie. So it's Indiegogo.com/projects/ice-the-movie. Give that a whirl, and that should get you there, mon frere.
All right, I'm still trying to figure this out.
Uh-oh.
I don't think it was.
Should we talk about how Marvel just announced they're making a Midnight Sun movie?
No, Midnight Sun movie. Apparently, she's in a movie called The Clapper with Alan Thicke playing Alan Thicke. Rest in peace.
Is that with Ed Helms?
Yeah,
The Clapper.
Let's see.
I gotta look that
she's
up.
in a
too.
movie about Karl Rove.
Karl Rove.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not finding this
What's
movie.
gonna
that she's
happen
in.
there?
Oh, The Last Word.
Yeah, that's it.
It's called The Last Word, and it comes out in theaters March 3rd. And I thought it looked very sweet. Despite the fact that Anne Heche is in it. What
do you got against Heche?
I'm just kidding, Anne Heche. It's got Philip Baker Hall, who I love, Tom Everett Scott, who is fantastic, Stephen Culp.
Tom Everett Scott from That Thing You Do?
From That Thing You Do.
Cool.
Joel Murray.
Joel Murray? Why
You know.
isn't that ringing a bell?
Joel Murray. We've talked about Joel Murray on this podcast before.
Yeah. Bill
We've also
Murray's
talked about
one
Shirley
of Bill
MacLaine on
Murray's
this
brothers.
podcast before.
Well, of course, because of the apartment, but...
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know
That's
who this person
everything.
is.
So, yeah, so if you haven't seen the trailer for The Last Word, you should check it out, because it looks pretty cool.
Looks real cool.
I'll
say it.
Anybody else have anything else to add?
Trailers, movie news. I did just see a headline saying Paramount put the kibosh on the newest Friday the 13th.
I saw that
reboot.
too. Well, you know, they were aiming for January 13th this year.
Yeah.
And obviously that wasn't going to happen. So then they moved it to sometime in the fall.
All right.
And now it's dead in the water.
Aww.
As it probably should be, because I don't think they're getting the right people to work on the story.
Oh, really?
Ideas. Yeah, they need to find some fresher talent.
Interesting.
Paramount, give me a call.
Interesting. Sure, I'll get in on a Friday the 13th script. I mean, it's about a guy who stalks several, maybe a few dozen square miles of forest. So how many stories can there really be told?
Pretty big, but and it's the lake is somehow linked to a river that can take you to Manhattan.
No, I don't think that's the case.
It happens.
I'm pretty sure that's
Happens in part 8.
I thought we already went
canon,
over this.
Steve.
I thought in Jason Takes Manhattan, I thought they drove away from the lake
No, he stays on the boat.
to some sort of river then that took them to Manhattan. I don't remember. And you know what? I'm not even sure if I want to watch it again to find out.
Right.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
For starters,
to
Paramount,
the movies.
you got to go back to campers. You got to go back to camp counselors. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to have kids in the camp,
Yeah.
because there need to be some stakes raised. Nothing gets people anxious than children in danger.
You know, as awful as that is to say, it's true. It's true.
It's true.
Didn't they do one where camp actually was in session?
My favorite, Friday the 13th, part 6, Jason Lives.
Is that part 6?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and the kids are there, and Jason goes into the bunkhouse at one point, and some poor little girl's awake, but Jason's
She's reading a book that's
yeah.
she's not reading Ayn Rand, but it's something heavy like that,
Yeah.
she's reading something she shouldn't be reading.
War and Peace. First edition print of the Iliad. Yeah, and then Jason's just like, I don't kill kids.
Yeah, he says that.
And then Freddy comes
doesn't
in
say
and
that.
let's not carry on that piece of fiction.
That doesn't happen either.
That doesn't happen either, thank goodness.
I don't know if there's any other
Freddy's a bad guy.
great movie news or anything.
Well, I mean, we're right in the thick of Oscar season,
Yeah.
and there's predictions to be made, there's screenings to be scrunned, and we've got a lot to discuss. But first, didn't we watch Charlie Victor Romeo?
We did watch Charlie Victor Romeo.
That's a heck of a movie.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch it, shame on you.
But also,
Spoilers.
we agreed we weren't going to dive too deep into it.
Well, I just mean, yeah, they should.
So, in a way, we don't really have to spoil anything.
No, we're not going to spoil anything. I'm just saying,
So watch Charlie Victor Romeo,
watch
guys.
it. Yeah,
It's good.
it's but for those that didn't, that refused to watch it,
Right.
Charlie Victor Romeo is a play that's done in New York, and the film is basically just a recording, a good recording from different camera angles of the play. They're basically on stage with their normal set and props and wardrobe, and they do their play. And
they do it well.
the play is 6 or 7 accounts of plane crashes that are all transcripts from black box recordings.
So these crashes really happened, is
Yeah.
what you're telling me.
Yeah.
On this planet Earth.
And all the dialogue is from the transcripts, except for a couple occasions where they needed to like kind of change things because it wasn't clear what was actually being talked about. Like I noticed there was a moment where you can kind of tell too in the performances when something like that happens.
Yeah.
There's a woman pilot and a man pilot, and she keeps talking about overspeed.
Hang on, a man pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, see what I did?
Yeah,
2017.
You flipped it, man. You flipped the script. And she keeps talking about overspeed, and she says, "It's gone." The overspeed. I mean, it's like I think some things like that were
right.
Little
because that was the
additions
one.
to make sure.
That was the one in Peru, so that
Yeah.
recording probably was not in English originally, and there was one in Japan too.
Yeah.
Because I remember at one point, before I remembered that flight was taking place in Japan, the pilot shouted something, the co-pilot said yes, and the pilot said, yes isn't the word. And I was like, what? who would say that to somebody at a time like this? And then I was like, oh, right, these people are speaking a translation of Japanese. Okay. And I think one of them was even speaking Chinese, because then there's a part where the guy says, and you can go ahead back to speaking Chinese the whole time, because like one character was like struggling, trying to speak Japanese when you could tell Chinese must have been their first language.
Right.
So that was a fun little touch.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, that movie. Go to the bathroom before it starts, because you're not going to want to get out of your seat. And then also get like a really good pillow or something to really squeeze the hell out of for the whole movie.
Maybe not your dog?
Definitely not a living thing.
No. I'm just saying in general.
Right. Yeah,
We don't condone dog squeezing.
Don't squeeze your dog. Don't squeeze a human. Just, but it's a stressful film. Not as stressful as that other thing we saw.
Well,
but a stressful film.
And you were really seemed like you were really dreading it before. We started it. Having being, I guess I wonder if other people also maybe were dreading it. So maybe some of the viewsters haven't watched it because they were worried about the content.
Sure.
What would you say to that? Would you say don't watch it? Or?
No, I would say absolutely watch it. It's like I said, it's stressful, it's intense, but it's not quite as like face-ripping, offingly intense as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that kind of take you out of it. Like, it doesn't feel as real as like a cinematic movie.
Yes,
like,
I can agree with that.
You know, it's not like.
Yeah, it's not like Flight, where it's like, here's what's going on in the cockpit, and then here's the people in the
screaming.
Here's the people in the seats being all freaked out, and now the plane's flipping over, and people are being dumped out of their seats, and this and that. Right. It's just like, this is what's going on in the cockpit 100% of the time, and this is the whole story. Just what was on that recording. That's the whole story. Period, and that's awesome.
Is fairly minimal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very clear that it's not a real airplane.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we kind of talked about afterwards that I think really separates you from it a little bit is that there's no story. There's no connecting you to the characters emotionally before this bad thing happens.
Right.
Yeah, you literally just leap into the middle of a story with wherever they decided to start the tape from. Because I'm sure some of those flights had been going for hours before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Some of them are like on takeoff.
Yeah.
Some of them are before they land. Some of them are in the middle of the flight.
Yeah. Wild idea and pretty great execution.
Yeah.
Yeah, great acting.
And you saw it with me in the theater, right?
Yeah.
You know, we originally saw it, and it was in 3D. You can't get it in 3D at home.
That's wild.
But you know, I think kind of to like echo sort of what you were saying about, you know, you don't get all that sort of realism that you get in Hollywood films where you're seeing all these different elements.
Yeah.
You're seeing outside or you're seeing the passengers and stuff. But they do something kind of cool before each one. They show some slides of plane blueprints to kind of give you a little bit of hint about what might be going wrong with the plane. They show you what the size of the plane is. Like one of them shows something about the de-icer on the tail.
It's like a diagram or something.
And that was one of the things that went wrong for that plane.
Those covered port things.
Yeah. And so then they have the incident.
That was a lot of fun.
And then it goes to black every time, and you don't necessarily know if people died.
Mm-hmm.
And not every crash people died, or not every crash everybody died. Mm-hmm. I think people died in every crash, but
no, I think that maybe the
No.
first one.
I think 4 people died in that crash.
No, there's at least
I can't
one that
remember.
said no fatalities.
Oh, you might be
Fatalities,
right.
I think
You might be
so.
right.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
so
they
not all of
tell
them.
you, like afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, this many people died. It's usually a lot of people that died.
Yeah, usually,
There's a
but
couple
not always.
That are only like 4 or none or whatever.
Well, sometimes I think there's like one where there's like 111 people died, but they're like 400. It was like a huge plane. It was like
Yeah.
500 and some people. So
And I will say this, which is a non-spoiler, but just so people don't have to worry about it. None of the 9/11 flights are in this, and that's just fine with me.
These
Yeah.
are all, I think, pre-90s.
I think
they're all
mid-90s or
pre-2000.
earlier.
I think.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think there's some 95,
I
96.
feel like,
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
the
you
latest
might be
one
right,
was
yeah.
95-ish.
I remember seeing one going, "Oh, I was a senior in high school when this was happening," so it would have been 95 or 96.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to you.
I
before
deny that.
or when we watched it, after we watched it, maybe. That when we saw it, we actually were sitting directly behind one of the actors who was in it, who was also a producer on the film.
Cool.
And he had said that one of the things that he thought was interesting was a lot of people say that like before they see it, they don't want to watch it because they're afraid to fly.
Yeah.
But after they watch it, they feel better because they can see how hard the pilots
Yeah.
work to save everybody's lives.
Yeah, that's
that it's
cool.
not just like I give up. It's like we fight until the very end.
Yeah. Looking flipping through the books for all the different recommendations
Oh, yeah,
and
man.
all that.
All those
nutty-
binders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of them, it seemed
Crazy.
like these manuals were maybe new, like they were flying a very new plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were like not even 100% familiar with
Right.
how the manual is laid out.
Right.
So, but they, I mean, you know, like
Still
Wes
the
said,
safest way to travel.
they work their butts off to make sure that, because you know, they don't want to die either.
Right.
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 yeah,
So
so-
that's Charlie Victor Romeo?
So if you didn't watch it, I hope we encouraged you to watch it by this little chat.
Yeah, it's good.
I know we're not spending a ton of time on it. It's not the type of film that you can really dissect.
Right.
It's just out there. It's what you see is what you get. There's no, fancy camera angles or subtext with colors or anything like that. It's this is the situation, and we want you to be in this,
Yeah.
and not focused on anything else. So,
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
yeah. So that takes us to the main event.
The main event is the upcoming Academy Awards. I don't know what annual ceremony. 87th?
Sure, why not?
Sounds about right.
Don't worry about it.
Live Oscar
Oscars,
Sunday.
nobody cares how many Academy Awards have happened.
February
750, 12.
February
26 on ABC.
At 4 p.m. Pacific.
Tonight belongs
Yes,
to
4 p.m.
Oscar.
7 Eastern.
So here's what I'd like to do with this. So I'm going to for the viewsters just preface this with we haven't seen everything on this list.
That's
Wait,
very true.
what?
Hey, but neither of you viewsters.
It's
Don't
very
judge.
very difficult. Yes, but they're not putting out a podcast where they're going to try and predict who's
Well,
going to win.
Maybe
But
they should.
I let Walt make all my picks.
oh, great, perfect.
So they're going to be
I didn't know
super
that was an
accurate.
option.
So I guess my point is we're going to do the best we can. We're going to pick some things. We may not be right. I'm sure we're not going to be right about everything, but there may be things where none of us have seen something, and we're just going to take the best stab that we can. Maybe it's based on a feeling. Maybe it's based on things we've heard. So, and we'll talk about each of the categories and each of the films and what we thought of them. I'd like to do the big one first, and then we'll work from backwards.
All right.
All right, and I don't mean backwards in order of how they're broadcast.
Sure.
But how our ballots look.
I get you.
So the first one I want to talk about is Best Picture.
Best Picture. Who's gonna win the Academy Award?
And we had talked about, Steve, that there's not always 10 films nominated because it's based on a percentage of votes,
Ain't that the truth?
and there are only 9 this year.
9,
So-
which means
Yeah.
Deadpool was not nominated for Best Picture.
Deadpool was not nominated for Best Picture, and I actually feel like it should have been nominated over something that is in here.
Oh,
We'll get to that in a second. So the reason why I want to talk about Best Picture first is because since we're going to talk about each of these movies, I feel like this is the best time to Best Picture is the best time to talk about
Yeah,
the films in detail.
makes sense to me.
So, do you guys? Maybe I'll just list off what's nominated, and then we can say who we think is gonna. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot. So
What?
I instructed everybody to vote what they think is gonna win.
Oh, yeah.
And if the thing they wanted to win was different, they
Right.
should also note what they want to win. So,
Done and done.
Best Picture, the nominees are Arrival with Amy Adams,
Oh, yeah.
Fences with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, Hacksaw Ridge with Spider-Man.
Andrew
Thank you.
Garfield.
Blanked on his name. I can
Come
never
on.
remember his
and
name.
Vince Vaughn as a
And
drill sergeant.
Vince Vaughn.
which is a strange choice.
And
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington.
That naked guy.
I was going to say the guy from The Matrix,
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving. I'm blanking on names tonight. I'm glad you're here.
I do what I can.
Yeah, the girl Teresa Palmer.
Teresa Palmer.
Hell or High Water with Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges.
And Ben Foster.
Oh yeah, okay.
And Katie Mikeson.
Yeah, Ben Foster shows up on our podcast quite a bit. He's talked about
He does great work.
Yeah.
Period. He's not always in the best movies, but when he's on screen, he's doing good work.
I bet Ben Foster has been mentioned on this podcast more than any other actor.
I mean, nah, that's probably not true.
I think he's been in multiple movies, and we've talked about it other times.
Think about how many times
Yeah.
I bring up Ryan Reynolds.
See, not that often.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hidden Figures with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, yes. And
Janelle
Janelle Monáe.
Monáe and Octavia
Spencer.
La La Land.
Octavia, I'm single, is all I'm saying.
La La Land with Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
The Ling and the Stowe.
Stoneling. Lion with Dev Patel and Nicole Kidman.
All right.
Right. Manchester by the Sea with Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck and Michelle
Michelle
Williams and
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. And
Kyle Chandler was great. We'll get to
Gretchen
that.
Mol.
And Gretchen Mol. And then Moonlight with... Who's in Moonlight?
Mahershala Ali.
Well, Mahershala Ali.
I was afraid I was going to mess up. And Janelle Monáe,
Oh yeah, Janelle Monáe. What I was blanking on were any of the actors that play
the young kid.
Chiron.
Yeah. I don't know their
I
names,
don't know their names either.
Oh, fudge. What did we do?
Little, Chiron, and Black.
Right.
But we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so
Those 9 movies.
should we talk about each of the films, or should we just jump to what we think is going to win?
We should talk about how there's a 10th spot that is occupied by neither Deadpool or Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Well, I don't think that one needed to be nominated, but Deadpool, I thought, well, let me talk about Deadpool when we talk about Hacksaw Ridge.
Let's do this.
Okay, so do you guys want to just tell me what you picked?
Sure. I'll let Desi go first.
Ladies first.
So I picked. I think Arrival is gonna win. It's also the one that I want to win.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
There's a few that I haven't seen on this list. I have heard about most of them.
You've seen at least half of those films, I bet.
Yeah, I haven't seen Moonlight, Manchester by the Sea, Hell or High Water, or Hacksaw Ridge, or Fences.
Or
I've seen 4 out of the 9.
Okay, so that's about half.
Whoa.
As much as I really liked La La Land, I just don't think it's as good as a film overall as Arrival.
That's interesting.
That's your first mistake.
Like I said, I loved La La Land, but Arrival had a lot more going for it. I mean, it was dramatic, emotional, it's beautiful.
Okay, well, before we go too far into Arrival, just real quick question, Steve. Did you pick Arrival for either of your...
I did not.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Arrival. So I think you're right. I think it's very beautiful. I think the performances are really good in it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really intriguing story. It feels like sci-fi rather than sci-fantasy to me. I mean, it definitely has some fantasy in it, but
Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more about a science, and therefore it's more science fiction-y.
yeah, because it's about that language.
Guess
stuff.
what, sci-fi nerds? Star Wars is only fantasy, so shut up.
What anything else that like just really stuck out to you about it, or
I just really, I think that the editing plays a big part in it.
I can agree with that.
That's interesting.
Like, just the... I don't know. I don't want to say like a ton about it in case people haven't seen it, but there's kind of almost a twist at the end.
Sure.
That like you might see it coming, but you might not, and I think that the editing and the
Maybe 50% of the people in the room saw it,
Yeah.
and maybe 50% of the people that were watching it together didn't see it.
yeah maybe
Yeah, it's hard to
No,
explain that
but
without giving it away.
That's a really great observation, and I think like sort of I guess I was kind of teasing a little bit there, but I think it's really great when a movie can give enough hints away that some people can get it, and keep enough of it guarded that it's not totally obvious.
Yeah, and it's a situation where you're not totally sure because you think that one thing is happening, but it turns out to not actually be the thing that you think is
Right.
happening.
Way to be vague.
Really smart.
Super vague.
We're the nonsense podcast.
Very
right now.
nonsense podcast. Very smartly done. Really pretty. Great acting. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna win.
And I appreciate you being vague about it. Let's just agree right now, for the most part, to be fairly spoiler free. If we are going to say a spoiler, let's do the best to say that we're going to say a
I'll
spoiler.
make a noise like wah, wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah, wah.
So yeah, Arrival. That's a good pick. Steve, do you want to?
I am betting that La La Land is going to win Best Picture.
Okay.
I don't think it should, but musicals tend to clean up pretty well, and it cleaned up at the Golden Globes, and I'm expecting there to be a lot of carryover.
Yeah.
So I think La La Land is going to win, but I want Hell or High Water to win. And I'll explain why.
Yeah, please.
I've seen 7 out of these 9. I think Hell or High Water is the most, let's say, realistic / entertaining of the bunch. Because there's some of these movies aren't too realistic, but it's okay. They're entertaining. Some of these movies are almost too realistic, but unfortunately are just way too somber and sad, and therefore not exactly entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Hell or High Water does the best job of being a relatable, exciting movie with quality performances, quality ideas, and it's what a movie should be, right? This is the movie of all these 9. This is the one I'm going to watch more than 10 times, probably.
Yeah. And I can't speak to this very very well because Hell or High Water is the only Best Picture film I did not get to see.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah,
that you did not see it.
I just didn't get an opportunity to see it. But
I remember when I asked you, "Hey, are you going to see this movie, man?" And you said, "Nothing can stop me."
not Hell
From
or High
seeing,
Water.
you jumped the gun on it. But yes, that's exactly where I was going. So yeah, I'm thinking La La Land is going to win. I want Hell or High Water to win.
Okay. So, real quick, let's harken back a little bit. A few weeks back,
A few weeks.
I tweeted something, or If You the Right Thing tweeted something,
yeah.
about how there are only 3 films in Oscar history that have won the top 5 Academy Awards.
All right.
Which are Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Picture. And the question was, does La La Land have a chance to win, to become the 4th to win the top 5? And in that tweet, we had said, Wes does not think so. And this is one of the prime examples where, no, I don't think it's going to win Best Picture.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about the other films who have won all 5 of those? Because I don't think that La La Land is in the same league as those ones. Like, I really liked La La Land.
well, okay, I'll play devil's advocate. That's a really good question. And even though I don't think it will, let me play devil's advocate and speak on behalf of La La Land, right?
Go for it.
Where I think it does fall in that same kind of category is if you go back to the first film to do this was 1934. It Happened One Night with Clark Gable. And
It Happened One Night.
It's like kind of a lighthearted comedy. And I think that what makes people love La La Land so much and why it transcends just the Hollywood crowd is that it has a very nostalgia 1940s sensibility to it.
Totally
it
agree.
uses a crazy amount of jazz both in the score and the actual music.
People love jazz.
It has references to the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. It has references to Singing in the Rain. It has references, huge, massive reference to American in Paris, which we've talked about on the podcast before.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think it ties really, really directly, really well with a movie like It Happened One Night, which did win the top 5. So I think that would be sort of an argument for it.
But are we still in a time where that kind of movie can win all those up against these other movies?
Well, we're in a time where
what I
like
mean?
musicals aren't common anymore, and so I think like the gimmick of a musical, like it's kind of like what Steve said, musicals, if they do get nominated, tend to clean up. And it is, I mean, it was nominated for 14 awards. It can't win all 14 because 2 of them are in the same category.
Whoa!
But you know, I think it has a good shot at maybe winning 9 Academy Awards, maybe. But I don't think it's going to win Best Picture.
I think it will.
I don't, and I'm going to kind of. I said we're going to start with the big one. Let's maybe do the big 2, because I think my feeling on La La Land ties into Best Director. I don't think it'll win Best Picture. I do think it'll win Best Director.
Wow! All right.
Which also is not incredibly common with the Academy Awards. It tends to be that Best Picture, Best Director tend to go hand in hand. I don't think that's the case this year.
I did pick Arrival for Best Directing.
I picked, so my pick for and my want are the same for Best Picture. I picked Moonlight.
All right.
I loved the film. I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really relevant. I think there is a common thread with several of the films this year.
All right.
When you look at Fences, Hidden Figures, Lion.
Oh, I see where this
Moonlight,
is going.
All of those films are about being bullied. And I think that's a really, really important topic right now. I think fairness, equality, figuring out who you are and being proud of who you are is really important right now, especially in this political climate. I think bullying is very much in the front of people's minds, and I think of the films that are about being bullied, I think Moonlight is the best. I also think it's the best of this bunch in general, but I think that gives Moonlight another edge to it.
Yeah, all right. All right.
And it's a topic that isn't getting talked about, that is a real topic, and is something I think people don't like to talk about. And so for those that don't know, Moonlight is about
Don't even tell them.
Don't even tell them what it's about.
They should have to watch.
Yeah.
The movie's nominated for Best Picture. You should just watch it.
I mean, it's very good. It's very moving. It's not a total downer. That's another thing it has going for it, is it doesn't end on a total down note.
I can agree with
like
that.
some of the films.
It does have that beach scene.
It does have that beach scene.
By the way, I'm joking when I say about the beach.
I mean,
scene.
some people are into that.
That's fine.
I'm all right with that.
That's fine. I mean, you know,
yeah. So I think Moonlight
might be an age issue there.
I think Arrival is a good pick. I think La La Land's a good pick. I just happen to think Moonlight's going to be the one that wins.
All right. All right.
So maybe we won't talk about Best Director yet. Oh,
Okay.
I was going to talk about Deadpool, though, with Best Picture.
Yeah, and don't forget to stand up for Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
I'm not going to stand up on that one, but
they're in Hawaii. Come on.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Hacksaw Ridge.
the most stressful movie I've ever seen, other than maybe all however many parts of HBO's The Pacific, which is about the same exact war.
But
And is almost a horror movie, except it's just set in a war instead of a summer camp.
so Hacksaw Ridge is Mel Gibson's first really big film.
Yeah.
After his sort of downfall, his racist, sexist, evil downfall.
I don't even know how many years ago that was. 2009-ish? 10-ish?
I don't know.
Seems like not that long ago.
And it's a true story about what's the guy's first name? Do you remember? I know his last name is Desmond Doss.
Yeah.
Who is considered to be the first man to enlist as a conscientious objector to the war. He felt really strongly about fighting for his country, but not actually fighting.
Right.
Like doing his part, but not actually killing anyone or picking up a weapon.
That's a strong feeling.
Yeah, and so he becomes a combat medic, and he saved a crazy amount of people.
So many.
Yeah, I won't get to that too much, but
now, which war was he in?
he was in World War II.
Was he fighting in Europe or in the Pacific?
He's fighting in the Pacific, in I believe Okinawa.
Okinawa at Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
That's the movie is named.
It's another film that is about bullying and being able to like be your own person and find your place. But here's the thing: I felt like that you could see what Mel Gibson wanted to execute with all of the ideas in the film. Different camera angles and subtextually what he was going for. Not everything was executed very well.
Interesting. All right.
It was not executed the way I think his other films have been in the past. And interestingly, when we were leaving the theater,
yeah,
I remember thinking, well, what would I put in its place? And honestly, Deadpool is another movie where you can understand exactly what it is they're trying to go for, and it's all executed exactly how they want it to be. And,
that's a fair point.
And it's a shame because it's an R-rated comedy that's
also a superhero movie.
And a superhero movie. It's way over the top. Not that a superhero movie can't get awards.
But has one ever gotten?
Heath Ledger won an award for playing the Joker.
That's
which is
very true.
The most iconic supervillain.
That's very true.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
You know what other villain won an award? I won't even go there. I'm just messing with you.
He's gonna say Midnight Sun.
How'd you guess?
Yeah. So that's my Deadpool thing.
That's a very good point, frankly, because Deadpool is an extremely well made movie, totally enjoyable. But yeah, it's just not what falls under the Oscar Best Picture umbrella.
Right.
It's not a musical. It's not a war movie.
Very, it's like not serious, but it's also like you said, R-rated. Like it's
Ryan Reynolds. I read a thing where I think it was Ryan Reynolds said that he wished that comedy had its own category because it's really hard to do well, and he's totally right. And Deadpool was done well. He's totally right about it being hard to do well. I don't agree with it needing its own category because then it's like, are we going to do a horror category? Are we going to do this category? Are we going to do this? Right. It's. I'm already not a huge fan of animation having its own category. I think if an animated film is a stellar film, it should be considered to be a Best Picture.
Agreed.
I think a really good example of that is Beauty and the Beast being nominated for Best Picture, and I think had Silence of the Lambs not come at the time it did, I think Beauty and the Beast probably could have won. Whoa, Steve!
My Hannibal Lecter impression backfired, and I'm choking on my own spit.
So that's Best Picture. Anybody else have any thoughts, or you want to talk about any of the movies? They're all really good films, right?
They're all pretty good films, but quite a few of them I'll never watch again.
Everything that I saw, I thought was really good.
I like Arrival.
A lot of really depressing stuff in this category.
I mean, we've talked about Fences on another episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
But we just talked about Hacksaw Ridge. You talked about Hell or High Water.
Manchester by the Sea is very sad.
Manchester by the Sea is very sad, but I liked that it just felt very real and just like, it was a tragedy through and through, and there's no real happy ending necessarily to tragedy. Sometimes it just exists. It just is, and it's tragic what happens in the film, and it's tragic that Casey Affleck's character sort of puts himself in a prison and punishes himself, and he's probably going to do that for the rest of his life. You notice that when they first move him into that little apartment, that little square apartment, it's like a little prison cell.
Yeah.
There's like hardly any furniture in there.
Very true.
And it's just like
he's barely got windows.
Yeah, that's what he wants is to lock himself away. He's put himself in solitary confinement essentially. Hidden Figures about the mathematicians at NASA.
I still haven't seen it.
Good film.
Very disappointed.
Very good.
I'm going to see it before the Oscars broadcast.
It's very fun.
I still haven't seen it.
It's inspiring. I mean, you saw it, right, Des? Do you have any thoughts on it?
It's definitely inspiring. I think it's definitely come at a very good time right now when women need that inspiration and, need to be reminded that it can be done. Like, it's silly to be saying that at this time, this day and age, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too political about it, but it's very good.
Go for it, sister. Because apparently we need reminders still.
I think that everyone should make their children watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
male or female.
yeah, it's interesting to see sort of the movies very much like we talked about, like very much about bullying. You're right. It's very much about women's equality, especially in the workplace. It's also about sort of it's about pioneers, right? Yep. So these women were pioneers, the astronauts were pioneers, right? The NASA
right, yeah.
the NASA engineers were pioneers. But there's also these moments where it's tiny spoiler here. If you haven't seen the film, sorry Steve.
That's a spoiler alarm.
Where Kevin, I'll be a little vague.
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Costner deals with the bathroom problem. And literally pulling down a barrier. So I think you're right. I think in this climate right now, it's nice to have these reminders that pioneers started somewhere and they can start again. So
right, whether it's females or minorities or both
or white people, recognizing that there's an injustice like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, not that I'm saying white people have to save people, minorities, but I think they should stand with them.
Absolutely.
We just all need to realize we're all from the same freaking pool of cells, man.
Pool of cells?
Is it true, and this might be a spoiler, I don't know,
yes,
because
I
haven't seen Hidden Figures yet.
Oh, okay, no, wait, what?
But is it true that, there's a scene where Janelle Monáe's walking down the hall, and Kevin Bacon steps out of nowhere,
Kevin Bacon?
And he's just like, we need to kiss. And she kisses him, and she's like, oh, I never got your name. And he's like, it's going to be all over the news once I get back from Apollo 13. And then he just walks off.
I have no idea what he was talking about.
It doesn't happen, though.
No? Darn it.
Sorry.
I was really hoping this tied into Apollo 13.
Real quick, let's talk about, so we've talked about Manchester by the Sea and Moonlight. Lion.
Haven't
really
seen Lion. You guys saw it?
Yeah,
we saw it.
It's very good. It's very emotional.
Yes.
If you're a crier in a movie, then you probably should take a handkerchief or a tissue.
The title leads me to believe there's only one lion, sort of like Alien.
I don't want to address the title. I think you just need to go see the movie.
You're telling me there might be more than one lion.
I'm not going to address the title. I think you should see the movie.
I'm scared. Scared of cats.
Once the movie is completed,
I
think you'll be very, very happy with everything
because he grows up to play the Cowardly Lion in Wizard of Oz.
Exactly.
Called it.
I'll try not to be too spoiler filled. It's about a young Indian boy who is separated from his family, from his brother and his mother and sister. I'm not going to say exactly how it happens.
Okay.
But he gets completely lost.
Aww.
And he ends up in Australia, of all places.
What?
And grows up in Australia. True story.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And the movie is partially about the child being lost and partially about the adult he becomes realizing that he's still lost. That even though he's grown up and has his own life, that he's still that kind of kid who's still lost, and he has to do something about that.
All right.
Based on a book. You want to shed in any light or info on this?
I do want to say that this is probably the most jacked you'll ever see Dev Patel.
Dev Patel, he looks pretty good.
I mean, for a scrawny guy, he looks pretty. He's been working out.
He got them 6-pack abs.
A jacked
he looks
Dev
good.
Patel.
He looks
1,
good.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abs.
But
right.
In all seriousness, though, it was a very good movie.
So you're saying I should take a date to see Lion?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a romantic movie, but
no,
I think it's sentimental and emotional.
Right.
So I think that's always a
It
good date.
definitely
A
is.
good date call is sentimental and emotional.
And
Yeah.
I have to say too, even though I'm not a mother yet, someday we will have kids, assumably.
Oh,
But
If you're lucky.
hey.
I have a lot of siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and the some of the stuff with the kid being lost is super hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
so hard to watch.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it's really good. Good
Yeah.
movie.
Good movie.
Cool.
All right, so let's
The Lion King.
The Lion King. So let's maybe start down backwards, and we'll go from there.
All right.
So I got here. I'm on the wrong page.
Get with it, Wes.
Talking about writing original screenplay?
Writing original screenplay. So we've got Hell or High Water, La La Land, The Lobster, Manchester by the Sea, and 20th Century Women. We'll just do the same order, I think, if you guys are good with that.
All right.
So Des, do you have want to weigh in on?
So, I have only seen one of these,
Okay.
which was La La Land.
Uh-huh.
However, I just from what I've heard and what clips and trailers and things I have seen and what I've heard people talk about, I picked The Lobster.
Oh, interesting. That's a good pick. I mean, it's bold, but I like it.
I think it's very different from everything else on this list.
Yeah, you're totally right.
So that's why I picked it. And it is a movie I do want to see. Like, it looks like a fun, intriguing, possibly sad story to me. And I do want to see it. But that was my pick.
What were your two picks?
I just picked The Lobster.
Oh, just
The
The
Lobster.
Lobster. So it's what you want to win, and it's what's going to win as far as you're concerned.
like I've said already, I do really like La La Land, but I don't know that it's going to win for writing.
Okay.
Steve, what you got?
I have a bad feeling La La Land is going to win for writing.
Steve, he's all in the La La Land
Well,
camp.
He's all
because
in
it
on La La
really hits a lot of chords with a lot of people who have made their way in this town and made it to being able to vote in the Academy. And, I remember I took my mom to see the movie when I was back home for Christmas. And about 20 minutes in, she leaned over to me and she was just like, "How do you put up with that?" And I was like, "That's only sort of what it's really like, Mom. This is actually a much lighter version,
A nicer version.
of the disappointment I put myself through every day to occasionally, book something great."
That's the version that everybody hopes that they have.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. And so much like the very ending of the movie, I feel like this movie as a whole is going to speak to that in a lot of the voters, and they're just going to be like, you know what? I saw La La Land. It made me feel great. It hit a lot of personal notes. Gets my vote. However, the movie I want to win, even though I haven't seen it, is The Lobster.
Oh, I like it.
Just because I think that's such a wacky, crazy idea.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, it's a great movie. I could never find it playing anywhere near me, which is ridiculous because we live in Los Angeles. But I want The Lobster to win.
So let me just say real quick that The Lobster is available to watch streaming on Amazon Prime. So
Cool.
Viewsters, if you have Amazon Prime, you can check out The Lobster before the Academy Awards.
I only have Megatron.
You can also rent or buy some of these movies on Vudu as well.
Oh,
like Hell or High
yeah.
Water is available on Vudu.
Cool. And yet you still haven't seen it.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
You're going to enjoy it.
All right, so my pick for writing original screenplay is Manchester by the Sea.
Cool.
I think the writing in it was really, really well done. I thought the character, the way each character was written, they absolutely had their own voice. Mm-hmm. The performances were great, but it was really, really clear that they were written very, very specifically and to be very different from each other. And the transition, you see these flashbacks, and you go back and forth, and transition of Casey Affleck's character before the incident and after the incident is really interesting, and some of that's performance, and directing, and some of that is the writing. I don't think La La Land.
All right.
I think it could. I think for the reason that you're saying. I mean, here's the thing: every time I go against La La Land, I always have that same thought that I think you're kind of saying, is that like Hollywood likes to sort of congratulate itself and pat itself on the back and like member berries, like South Park.
Yep,
like,
exactly.
But
it was fantastic.
But here's what I hope that they that the voters recognize that we've seen La La Land's story over and over and over again. It's not an originally written.
Very true.
It feels like a rehash of a bunch of other things that we've already seen.
Sure.
So, I have a feeling that Manchester by the Sea is going to narrowly edge it out.
All right.
And win. So yeah.
All right.
So moving on, writing adapted screenplay, we have Arrival, Fences, Hidden Figures, Lion, and Moonlight.
Cool. Just those 5.
Just those 5. Typically, it's just 5, I think.
Sounds about right.
Des, what you got?
I went with Hidden Figures
for
on
both
this
your
one.
for both your things.
Yeah,
both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Any reason why? You just
excuse me, I had a little burp going on there.
burp hiccup thing.
It happened right when a horn honked outside.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling it. I don't know why. For sure.
Well, I'll tell you something that I noticed about the writing that I really liked about Hidden Figures. It's I know it's not my turn. Maybe I should wait for my turn.
Go for it,
Steve. If you want to go, do you want to go?
Well, I'll go.
I'll wait for my turn.
Because I think Fences is going to win, but I want Hidden Figures to win.
Why do you think Fences is going to win?
I feel like all I hear from everybody about that movie is that the writing is so good. And therefore, even though it was not properly adapted from stage to screen, I still think it's going to win Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. But I want Hidden Figures to win.
Why?
I really don't know. I haven't even seen it yet, but I have a feeling of what's on that list, that's probably the movie I'll enjoy the most.
Yeah. All right. I also picked Fences and want Hidden Figures.
All right.
I picked Fences because, and I think it's going to win because I think it's the most complex out of all the writing. Like the dialogue is incredibly rich and heavy and full-bodied. And
that from what I understand, that movie is all about the dialogue.
It's very much about dialogue and performance. It's first of all, it's adapted from a play, a very like celebrated play that has had like James Earl Jones was in it, and obviously these people, Denzel Washington and Viola Davis were in it. It's, and I mentioned this before in other podcasts, but it's very Shakespearean in the way that all this dialogue is sort of delivered ad nauseum. People are talking all the time in this film, and it's
quite a bit too much at times.
It's a huge task to be able to manage that dialogue, and somebody's got to write that dialogue. I think it's a story that some people do identify with, not myself
for sure.
And I think it's a story that's really written from the heart.
All right, I can agree with that.
So that's why I think Fences is going to win. Hidden Figures, though, I just really, really liked. I thought it was just so enjoyable to watch and to listen to, and it's like just in the moment where you need a little like snappy comeback, the snappy comeback happens. It's like
good.
It's very witty. It's written. I think it's co-written by a woman. There's a man and a woman wrote, and you can tell there's definitely a woman influence in there. And thank God it was there, because without it, it would feel like every other inspirational true story.
Oh, okay.
But there are definitely moments in there where it's like a man would never have thought of this line because a man doesn't go through the same things or doesn't wear the same type of clothes or typically walk around in high heels or whatever it is. And things that aren't really cliche, like high heels would be cliche. Like high heels might be something that a man might think of. But there were things in there that were little touches that were really clearly written by a woman.
Very cool.
And it led a lot of authenticity to the film.
All right.
And that's why I would like for it to win.
Yeah.
Adapted screenplay, because it felt very authentic.
Groovy.
All right, you want to do visual effects?
Sure.
You want to say all the nominees, Steve?
Sure, I will. The nominees for visual effects are Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, The Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
All right, Des, what you got?
I went with Doctor Strange. I mean, I have to say, I don't know if I would be saying the same thing if we hadn't seen it in 3D. I think that definitely is a movie you should see in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
But really fantastic visual effects in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Steve?
Doctor Strange is your pick for both?
Yeah.
All right. I think Rogue One, A Star Wars Story is going to win, because who doesn't love Star Wars?
Yeah.
But I want The Jungle Book to win.
Maybe
Because
Chewbacca?
What's that?
She said, remember Chewbacca?
Maybe Chewbacca? I want The Jungle Book to win because there's only one human in it. Every other character in it is a visual effect. They looked pretty awesome. And they're all cuddly animals.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I picked Doctor Strange for both. Like Desi said, I think it's like it's. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs, but I imagine if I dropped acid, that's what I would go through. That movie is like a kaleidoscope of architecture and beauty and horror, all kind of rolled into one. And it was a lot of fun to look at.
I know a lot of people who have dropped acid.
Yeah,
and that is. That would have to be really, 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 really good acid to get something looking that nice.
Well, they say that like you like see color and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like how I felt about that movie, and it's just so bizarre and beautiful and
let's drop
strange.
some acid, man.
Yeah, let's do it
Again.
Yeah, Rogue One is an interesting pick.
I think Rogue One is going to get
a little part of me wanted to pick Rogue One.
Yeah.
I just don't know if like. Here's what I think hurts Rogue One.
All right.
Not that I think you should change your pick.
Well, I'm just saying I think it's what's going to win. I want Jungle Book to win.
Here's what I think hurts Rogue One. CGI characters. I think while people recognize the achievement, didn't love it.
All right.
I think people thought it was kind of cool, but didn't love the execution on it.
Yeah.
So that's one, and the other is like. How is this much different than any other Star Wars visually?
Fair question.
And although I asked that question about Return of the King, and that won awards that the other two didn't win.
Didn't that win like 11 out of its 13 nominations?
Why did that win costume, but Two Towers didn't win costume?
Right.
So like, what the heck? They're the same costumes.
But wasn't it all just the idea that they were just saving the win all for Return of the King?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I seem to remember that being the case back then.
But that's kind of my feeling about Rogue One is that like we've kind of seen it all before.
Right.
None of it felt spectacular in any specific way like that to me, but good picks, everyone.
Great picks.
All right, Des, you want to give us the sound mixing nominees?
Sure.
I like sound mixing, by the way.
The sound mixing nominees are Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, in case you were not sure, and 13 Hours, Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
Okay, and what did you pick? What were your picks?
I picked La La Land for both.
For sound mixing, okay.
For sound mixing.
All right. Do you want to expand on that or no? Sound mixing is one of those like hard to define categories for some people.
It kind of is.
So
I mean,
I understand if you don't really have a strong.
I definitely think. I mean, I do think Rogue One could win this. I mean, there's obviously a lot of sound effects and whatnot going on in that movie. La La Land, though, I just felt like there's a lot of like tap dancing, for instance, and like jumping into pools and like things like that. Things that are like practical sounds, but I just thought were done really well.
Sure.
All right. I think La La Land is going to win. Even though there are quite a few problems to be discussed with the sound mixing of that movie. For example, the opening song and then the second song about come to the party with us, whatever. You can barely hear what anybody's singing. There, I said it. I've probably said it before,
true.
and so have many others.
That first song especially. I don't know as much on the second one, but I definitely agree wholeheartedly
On
on
that
the first
song, it's just like, huh? Like, I mean, yeah, I can hear the words and stuff, but why isn't anybody going for it, Wes? But I want Arrival to win, because I remember Arrival having very good, very fitting sound, I guess you could say.
You guys have won me over a little bit to thinking maybe La La Land's going to win.
I
But
think it's just going to clean up.
that's not what I picked.
That's fine.
I picked 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers.
You know what? I
Benghazi.
wanted to pick that.
The sound mixing
glad
in that
you-
is solid. I mean, it's a lot of there's moments of stealth where like small sounds are really, really important.
Yeah.
There's explosions. There's a lot of gunfire. There's different types of gunfire. There's a lot of chaos, quick editing, fire, people speaking in different languages. A lot of people talking over each other at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
It's for sound mixing, it's really, really tight. And I think that usually gives a movie like an edge if it's like something where there's a lot going on all at once and it's really, really tightly done.
I hope you're right.
But the movie was not like incredibly well received.
Very true.
It's a Michael Bay film, although it's somewhat un-Michael Bay like.
Right. It's been well reported that a lot of it was kind of made up.
Yeah, I mean, I think any of these true stories like this, it's like American Sniper is another really good example, where you're trying to tell a specific story and get a certain message across. You're not a documentary filmmaker. Somebody
Right.
can document it and interview the people and do reenactments if they want, but that's not what this is.
Right.
This is a movie that's somewhat true, somewhat fictional.
Right.
There's always like do you expect that they say all the bits of dialogue that
Right.
those were verbatim conversations? No.
That's not true.
The movie, I thought you've seen it. Have you seen it, Steve?
Yeah.
I,
Also a very stressful movie.
it's very stressful.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very well made. And this doesn't have to do with sound mixing, but I thought it was actually a fairly solid film.
Yeah, I agree. A bit of a political hot button issue.
Sure.
Still.
Sure, and I think that hurt it. I don't
Yeah.
think that helped the movie at all.
Yeah.
Right. Not at all. Because apparently the red states didn't turn out to see it,
No.
even though it was right up their alley. Should I go to sound editing?
Sure. Give us sound editing.
Nominated for Best Sound Editing, your nominees are Arrival, Deepwater Horizon, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, and Sully. That's an intense group right there.
Yes, it is. Desiree.
I picked La La Land on this one. I think if it's going to clean up, these are the areas it's probably going to me, seem more obvious ones for it to win in.
Yeah.
Anything to do with sound and music, and etc.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
That's all you had to say.
pretty
Okay.
So you want it? That's your pick for both?
Yes.
All right, I'm going with. I also think La La Land's gonna win,
Yeah. Okay.
but I want Deepwater Horizon to win
Yeah.
because my friend is in it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's very good. I think it has a very good Rotten Tomatoes score, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Didn't get to see it, but a buddy of mine's in it, so I want a
right.
buddy of mine to be in an
Do you want to
Oscar-winning
give your
movie.
buddy a shout out? Do you want us to say who it is?
For another time.
You don't want to name drop tonight?
For another time.
I picked Hacksaw Ridge for both, actually. I
Cool.
thought this
All
was
right.
one area that it excelled in. And
Sure.
actually, so for some of the same reasons that you I think La La Land, sound is incredibly important in it, but they did some really nice things with like sort of audio bridges where you would hear some of the stuff before it moved scenes. So like you might hear a church choir singing before they go to the church.
Yeah.
So they utilized elements of sound to inform where the movie was going next, and I thought that was somewhat surprising in a war film.
Yeah.
And I should say that like the first half of the film doesn't take place in war.
Very true.
I mean, there's a war going on at at basic training. There's a war,
Right.
a different kind of war is going on amongst the soldiers and DOS.
Yeah.
But for the first half of the film, it's not like a war film in the way most people understand a war film.
Agreed.
But yeah, so that's what I think. Hacksaw Ridge. We'll see. Maybe La La
All
Land.
right.
You know.
I like it.
Des, you want to give us live action short film?
No.
No?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, see you later.
Well, there's some things in here I'm probably not going to pronounce correctly, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to try it? I don't know how to say any
I
of this
can
stuff.
do it.
Okay,
I can read
Steve.
French.
Steve's all up in the French.
I mean, yeah, I guess these are French.
I mean,
I did take French.
You speak some French.
Well, speak is a very loose term.
You have spoken some French. Why don't you just go for it, Des? You can do it.
Okay, so the first one is Ennemis Intérieurs,
Okay.
La Femme et la TGV,
Okay.
Silent Nights, Sing, and Time Code.
Oh, you got that last French one really well. Time code.
Time Code?
Yeah. All right. Have you seen any of these?
No, I picked Sing just because I like singing.
You like
That's
singing? Steve?
I picked Silent Nights just because I think a lot of people are just going to be like, it sounds like something I'd watch and vote for
You're
it.
a big fan of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
That's true.
I picked
Holy night.
I picked Time Code. I'll be honest, I haven't seen any of these.
I haven't either. I mean, it's live action short film. Where do
Yeah,
you
it's
see
harder. It's harder for us unless you're at a festival,
Yeah.
or they're provided online or something.
They're not
ahead of
screening
time.
those at the $3 theater near my house.
$12 at the Egyptian.
Well,
you can see them all, but
I'm down.
it hasn't happened yet.
I have to
as of the time of the recording.
Set my mic down.
Uh-oh.
Keep talking.
Oh, it's gonna be so loud. Oh no.
Is it?
I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I picked Time Code. It's one of the ones that I've heard talked about, and kind of like Desi, like it's kind of a movie thing, right? So
Right, yeah.
it's something that's like near and dear to my heart. Time Code. I'll do the animated short film nominees.
All right.
I'm back.
Steve's back. He actually didn't really go anywhere. Blind Vyasha, Borrowed Time, Pear Cider and Cigarettes, Pearl, and Piper. Anybody
3 Bs,
wanna?
3 P's, 2 B's. Never mind.
Yeah, I went with pear cider and cigarettes.
Really? I'm so surprised.
Because I just thought it was a cool name, and I don't think I've seen any of these.
Oh, you have.
I have? Wait,
Yeah.
which one have I seen?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Shoot.
I haven't seen any of these animated short films.
You haven't?
I think most people are just going to vote for Pearl.
I think this is the only category Pixar is nominated in this year.
Ah.
I think people will go for Piper, the Pixar film about the little bird trying
Little
to
Sandpiper?
Yeah, little trying to eat the clams.
I didn't know that was
right.
Pixar.
I
Well, then,
did
yeah,
see
that's
that
probably
one.
what's going to happen.
You're right. That's probably going to win.
What was that on the front of Moana?
Finding Dory.
Oh.
I think that'll be the one that wins. Pixar has a pretty good track record.
Yeah,
They're not nominated in animated feature this year.
It's
And
pretty
they're the
stinking
ones
adorable.
who
It is
actually
adorable.
make sure their movie gets seen with the shorts.
Yeah, it's adorable and it's emotionally heartwarming, and it's like a little guy triumphs over big forces. And
Yeah.
I think people are into that. So
Sandpipers
Yeah,
are cute.
I think you're probably
yeah,
right.
little Piper. All right. Oh, okay. Let's get
We hear
Special guest appearance.
Chris
we'll get
returning.
Chris's opinion on production. Hey, Chris,
welcome.
we're doing the podcast, so maybe you could weigh in on something for us.
We are on
So-
the category of production design.
Yeah, so we're gonna read out the production design nominees, and you shout out which one you think is gonna win. And if you would rather you could pick what you think is gonna win, but also what you want to win if you don't. Yeah, Oscars.
Oscars.
All right, here you go. Production design. I'm actually Steve. Why don't you go ahead and do the?
My problem is I haven't seen this.
Well, let's just see what maybe you've seen some of these,
There's only 5.
and you can just pick what you think is going to win, even if you haven't seen. You can just pick.
The nominees are Arrival, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Hail, Caesar, La La Land, and Passengers.
The only one I've seen is Arrival, so, and it's probably the least impactful production design-wise.
Interesting.
But I like it. It does the job it needs to.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, your pick was Arrival?
That's the only one I've seen.
Okay. Chris has picked Arrival.
Arrival, starring Amy Adams,
You heard it here first.
Jeremy
I
Renner.
imagine La La Land is pretty amazing design-wise, production design-wise. And
Yeah.
I imagine the second one. What was the second one?
Fantastic
Fantastic
Beasts.
Where to find them?
Beasts.
I imagine Fantastic Beasts is probably pretty spectacular. But I haven't seen it.
Sounds like a vote for Fantastic Beasts, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He's being modest.
All right, Des, real quick before you go
Puke?
do some things.
What happened?
The dog's
over
being
there?
smelly over here.
Oh.
All right. What's your pick?
Okay, I picked Fantastic Beasts is Where to Find Them. I haven't actually seen it, but just, I mean, even from the trailers, it looks pretty
Is that the one you
cool.
wanted to win, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool. I mean, as per usual with the Harry Potter, world.
Yeah.
I think that's my pick.
All right.
All
So
right.
glad I can't smell the dog right now.
Yeah. This is gonna get the Febreze or something.
Well, I'm a bit torn on this one.
Okay.
I think La La Land is going to win.
Okay.
However, I also want and think of the 5, Hail Caesar has the best chance
Interesting.
to trump La La Land on this one, because Hail Caesar is a full-on period piece about the golden age of Hollywood, where we've got characters back in the day practically living on studio, and the studio is their life, and they're working to make these great big beautiful movies that La La Land was inspired by, even though none of them are actual movies.
Sure.
So I think, and I want Hail Caesar, directed by the Coen brothers, starring George Clooney and Josh Brolin and
Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson.
I was going to say Veronica Osorio.
Okay.
Veronica, if you're listening, I follow you on Twitter. So I think Hail Caesar could do it, but I think it's going to go to La La Land.
Okay. I think
Go on.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is going to win. I think for some of the same reasons. Like, it's definitely a period thing, but it's also got this kind of like unique world specific fantasy element to it as well. So it's got kind of a marriage of the two things.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that it's going to get production design. However, it's not the one I picked for want. This might surprise you.
You want
La La Land to win.
You want La La Land
I want
to
La
win.
La Land to win. I thought the production design of La La Land was really, really excellent. I think, they went to great efforts to sort of like,
You know what?
make Los Angeles make the movie look authentically Los Angeles.
Yes, but also beautifully Los Angeles.
Yeah, in a way that a lot of people either don't see or can't see because some of that doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, for example, we were talking with our friends Susie and Joseph, and they live really close to where the milk, the little coffee,
Absolutely.
the dairy thing. He's drinking coffee outside and looking at the jazz,
the
tapas place or whatever
samba
it
and
is.
tapas place. Just do one well. Don't mix them.
And there's this beautiful mural painting on they do a profile shot of him sitting there. There's this beautiful mural painted on the building.
Yeah.
They painted that just for the movie, and then they painted over it when they got done.
What
Unfortunately,
was on the mural? Do you remember? Because I don't even
oranges.
remember looking at
It was
it.
like oranges.
It was like
Yeah,
an
it was-
ad for oranges.
It was like an
Oh,
old school
all right.
looking ad that you would see for
Yeah,
like on a
'cause this
postcard.
all
type.
used to be orange groves back
Right.
in my day.
Well,
I get you.
It was beautiful, and so some of that stuff, is not really authentic Los Angeles, but it feels authentic Los Angeles.
Agreed. And
I thought that last sequence, the production design of the last big music sequence that's a la American in Paris,
yeah,
I thought they knocked that out of the park.
I can agree
They
with
definitely
that.
did.
Also, the Griffith Observatory scene.
Yep,
I forgot all
absolutely.
about
Oh my
that,
gosh,
but that
yeah.
is an
Absolutely.
incredibly beautiful scene.
Yeah.
I will say that the giant, like, orange mural painting thing that's sort of vintage,
Yes.
that is absolutely the kind of thing that my job
Yeah.
as an interior designer, we would totally put that in like an apartment building
In
club room.
Cool.
You know, like
in like Orange County or like in
right,
Anaheim or
yeah,
something,
exactly.
yeah.
Like reference that like what used to be here kind of a thing.
Sure.
and using that sort of vintage style of art.
Yeah.
So it is sort of authentically California, but just not
In the way
in
that
the
you
context that it
of
is
the
in
film.
the movie. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's why I want La La Land to win. I think Fantastic Beasts will win, but I think this is a category that I think they should win. La La Land.
All right.
Music. Des, you want to give us the nominees for original song?
Absolutely. Okay, Audition, The Fools Who Dream from La La Land.
Yep.
Can't Stop the Feeling from Trolls.
Okay, is that the Justin Timberlake song?
Yes.
Okay.
City of Stars from La La Land. The Empty Chair, the James Foley Story.
Which you can watch streaming on HBO Go. by
Jim,
the way.
the James Foley story.
And then How Far I'll Go, Moana.
And that's the Lin-Manuel song.
I'll take your word
The
for
guy
it.
from that did Hamilton.
Yes.
I think that's the song that he wrote.
I thought he wrote all the songs for.
Oh, did he do
Moana.
all of it?
That's what I heard.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
I-
thought he just did the big one.
I listened to a podcast where these two guys
I haven't seen Moana.
really love Hamilton. So they talk about
I've also not seen Hamilton nor heard any of the music.
they talk about
Yeah.
Hamilton for at least 15 minutes of every episode just by accident. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda contributed to all the songs.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
I'm 70%.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
And neither have I.
Okay, so Des,
You're welcome, as the song says.
What do you think is going to win?
Okay, so this was kind of a hard category for me to pick.
It's okay.
Well, I just, as you know,
Desi is
I
a music nut.
love music, love singing. There's a musical with 2 songs in here. I mean, that alone is like, oh, that should make it easy. But on the other hand, you've also got a Disney movie song in here, which Disney is. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I know that Disney has notoriously fantastic music.
Uh-huh.
And then you've got Can't Stop the Feeling, which is Justin Timberlake. And
It's fun.
while I have no interest in seeing that film, the song is awesome.
Trolls.
I mean, the song is on the radio. Like, I hear that song on the radio. Like, it's a very, like, pop song.
Sure.
Whoa.
And it's good. I like it.
He's bringing Trolley
It's-
back.
It does. That's funny. It does remind me of Happy by Pharrell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's very,
It's almost like a summer anthem.
it's very universal. Like,
All right.
it's in a kids movie. It's a song that kids definitely can like, and the content is not inappropriate for them. But it's also a song that adults can
Right.
enjoy and get something out of.
Right.
That's a hard song to write right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's The Empty Chair. I don't know that one. I haven't seen the
Okay.
James Foley story. I haven't seen that, so I don't know anything about that one.
You
But
said that was on HBO right now?
Yeah, I believe you can watch that on HBO.
Maybe I'll watch that for bed.
But then there are 2 songs from La La Land, which I love musicals.
Yeah,
just
you
in
didn't.
general.
You didn't even know it was a musical when we went to go see it.
No, I
right?
knew nothing about it, which
Nice.
Wes does this sometimes. He'll go, we're going to see a movie, and we just go and we see it, and I've known nothing about it. And it's
Sallow.
usually great.
And I planned that one
Days of
way,
Sodom.
way ahead of time, knowing how much she loves musicals. Like planned. Like I remember, like 3 weeks before, I was like, "Hey, this movie's coming out at this time. I want to go see it. Let's go." And you were like, "Okay."
Yeah, and like you didn't because I knew you kind of wanted me to not really know anything about it. I didn't even watch a trailer for it. I didn't even I said, I didn't know it was a musical. It was great.
Yeah.
So that said, I think that City of Stars is going to win.
Okay.
Really?
I think that it's the most recognizable sort of like through carrying song for this film. However, I want Audition to win because
Interesting.
I think it's a better song.
Yeah.
That's the best song in the movie.
It's so emotional and it's really good.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Steve Reno.
I don't have a want to win, so I'm just going to go straight to my what's going to win.
Okay.
Now, this is a category with 2 La La Lands in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to win is How Far Will I Go from Moana.
All right.
Oh, is that really? That's your pick?
It's Disney, dude. Disney
I mean,
almost
yeah,
always wins
it's
Best
Disney.
Song.
It is Disney.
The
Yeah.
only song to ever top Disney on Best Song was Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent up against
Steve, just
What is happening over
up
here?
against
welcome to this podcast. I mean, it's just like all
Burn
the
That
time with
Cauldron
this guy.
Down from the Black Cauldron.
Burn That
1997.
Cauldron Down. Okay, so
Burn that
I agree with
cauldron
Desi.
down.
I think City of Stars is going to win. I think you're right. I think it's the most recognizable song. It's the song that won the Golden Globe. I think
And the theme of it sort of is in multiple pieces of music.
yes,
in
and
the
that's the
film.
other thing is you were talking about the through line for the music, and that's the thing that song ties the storyline together almost from the very beginning to all the way to the end. So I think City of Stars is going to win. I also, like you, I want Audition to win. I think you're right. I think it's the better song, but I don't think it'll win. I think people love the song, but I think because City of Stars is iconic, I think the songs that tend to be really iconic are the ones that win this award.
Yeah.
The ones that people can't get out of their heads.
Yeah.
And I'm going to disagree with Steve on the Disney thing. I think this entire category is completely overshadowed by La La Land. I don't think.
Interesting. All right.
I'll be really surprised if.
This might be
far
one of the few
How Far I'll
times
Go
where
is
Disney
gonna
does
win?
not take this.
Yeah,
Where
I think
Disney has a song in this category and doesn't take it.
most times. Well, Disney almost always has a song in this
Well, yeah,
category,
yeah.
almost every year. And the thing is, very very rarely does Disney have to go up against a musical.
Right.
I mean, it's
That's a fair point.
I mean,
Right there.
it's not. very
You
common.
start singing
And
City
a
of
good
Stars.
musical.
I'll start singing How Far I'll Go.
I'm good.
Let's see who wins.
I'm good. You're gonna.
I've
win.
never heard How Far I'll Go. I've never heard.
All right, I'll
I'm
do
the Rock. How far I'll go. I was in what?
music original score. I'll do this one. We got Jackie, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, and choked on myself.
happened?
I choked on my own spit.
You were choking on outer space.
Passengers.
Passengers there.
Des, what you got?
Okay, I've only seen two of these movies, La La Land and Lion.
Yeah,
I think La La Land's going to take it. I mean,
and that's the one you want to win.
well, and that's the thing. Like, if it's a musical, the music has to be good. And
Yeah.
a musical that's nominated for this many awards,
Yeah,
well, clearly it's a good musical. So I think that's gonna overshadow anything else that's in this category.
okay.
That being said, I haven't seen some of these other movies, so maybe I could be totally wrong. But
Yeah,
That's okay. I think La La Land is going to win. I want the original score for Jackie to win, just because I remember when I was watching some of the movie, I remember thinking, wow, this original score reminds me a lot of There Will Be Blood.
oh yeah.
And if a movie about Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis can remind me of There Will Be Blood, it's doing something right.
Right.
ooh, you guys, it's getting like after hours mood lighting in here.
So
Fix
I have La La Land picked to win.
All right.
I don't want La La Land to win.
You want what to win?
I want Moonlight to win.
Ooh.
I thought Moonlight, the music was beautiful, identifiable when there was a theme. I think that's a really big key to a good score, is having kind of like we talked about, like a through line, having something identifiable that you hear. It doesn't pull you out of the movie, but adds to the film.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did some really interesting things with the score. I know when you and I watched it, we talked about how like it sounds almost like an orchestra is warming up for what's about to happen next,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel like a shoe is about to drop all the time.
All the time.
And I think that's by design, and it makes the movie what could be a movie that is not really that engaging, or a story that could be that engaging. It makes it more engaging. I also like how as the movie went on, the music got a little bit more mixed.
All right.
As I understand, so they use rap music. They use like sort of a traditionally Southern style of like rap editing, which is like chopped and screwed.
Yeah.
And that influenced the composer.
All right.
And I know as the film got on further on in the film, and Chiron grew up. Was it Chiron or Chiron?
I think it was Chiron.
Chiron.
Maybe it was Chiron.
I was like, are they saying Tyrone?
Yeah, it was
Chiron. As he grew up, the score became chopped and screwed as well, which I thought was really like a really unique thing. And I think if people recognize that's like the type of thing that I think should win an Academy Award. But I think it's so subtle that La La Land's going to overpower it, and so I think La La Land, but I want Moonlight.
I understand.
All right, Desiree, you want to give us makeup and hairstyling? Is a big category. It's a lot of nominees.
A man called Ove, I'm guessing. Or Ove?
I was going to say Wov.
No,
Not sure.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's spelled just like one, but with a V instead of an N.
Star Trek Beyond and Suicide Squad. I get a little bit of a hard time picking between Star Trek and Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
On this one. I mean, Star Trek always, I think, in this category has a lot going on.
Makeup especially.
Is especially huge, yes. But even hair, they're always doing some crazy futuristic something that somehow still looks normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I picked Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a big part of this movie, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the movie.
It's a huge part of like creating those characters and making it feel like a comic book, but almost like it could be real world as well. I mean, like, making a comic book come to life, sort of a thing.
Sure.
I think that is one of the few things that they did really well in that movie.
Yeah.
It does not have a lot going for it, that movie. But I did think they did a really good job with that.
All right. Steve?
Well, I just looked at some pictures from a man called Wov. Probably Ove. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see anything in those pictures that lead me to believe that this should be nominated for makeup and hair.
I felt the same way. I'm thinking maybe there's some like artificial aging.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Going on.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's got a 2015 release date.
Well, it's because it's a foreign
I've
film.
never heard of it.
Well, it's a foreign film.
So it was
Okay.
released in
So-
2015 in a foreign country.
Yeah, so it can
not.
still qualify here.
I guess so. Long story short, I'm going with Star Trek Beyond because I don't want Suicide Squad to win an Oscar. And I've never heard of a man called Wov.
All right. I picked Suicide Squad, and I feel the same way you do, Steve. I don't like the movie, but I actually thought that the makeup and the hairstyling too, specifically when you
Who had hair in that movie?
when you think about Harley Quinn in that
Harley
film,
Quinn?
one of the most like iconic, specific things that you see in every cosplay Halloween costume is the ponytails with the blue and the red. And I thought that that was a story element that they used really well. When she takes the dive into the spoiler
dumbest
alert
scene ever
Hold on.
filmed ever.
Hold on. Spoiler alert. She takes the dive into the acid pool.
Yeah.
By the way, happens in one of the comics.
Okay.
So it's a scene out of the comics.
Well,
But
then,
I'm just saying they're being true to the comics.
that part's cool.
And the acid eats away their clothes, and there's red and blue clothing that the dye creates a little heart in the acid, which is silly and cheesy but kind of cute at the same time.
Sure.
And that the colors happen to also be on the same sides where she is permanently dyed for her hair. I think like those little things for hairstyling and making that part of the story, I think that speaks a lot about the hair and makeup design. I thought Killer Croc looked kind of cool.
Killer Croc was pretty cool. Okay, good point.
I thought-
forgot all about him.
I thought the tattoos on Diablo were very cool.
Those are cool. The witch was pretty dirty and sexy. And
Yeah, I mean,
scary.
yeah, I mean,
I,
yeah,
I did not like the way that woman moved.
yeah,
in
Carla
that,
Delevingne.
But
Yeah, it was
It's
weird.
silly.
but that has nothing to do with her hair and makeup.
No,
Like,
no,
her
no.
hair and
Right.
makeup I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I just think
It was silly.
they took a lot of opportunities. The thing that I hate is the look of the Joker.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I'm going to defend this.
I can tell you really meant that. That was the only good scene in the movie. Was that moment
Okay, so
where he straddled Ike Barinholtz.
I can't believe I'm defending this. They clearly wanted a specific look, and they did nail the thing that they were trying to do.
I can agree with that.
I completely disagree with what they chose, but they really did nail that. And for the idea that like he's not scarred or mangled or twisted in some way like his face, I think they did a pretty good job with it.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, Star Trek was good too. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's not a ton that's different in Star Trek from the other Star Trek. Again, kind of like the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
That's my thought, but I still think it's a good pick. It was the one
I mean, there's only 3 to pick from.
It was the one I wanted to pick, kind of.
Yeah.
But I do want Suicide Squad to win because I do think that the hair and makeup actually were influenced the film.
Fair enough. All right.
All right, here we go. Foreign language film. Land of Mine. Man Called Ove. The Salesman. Tana. And Tony Erdmann. I'm just gonna say now I haven't seen any of these. Normally I usually try to watch the foreign language films. I just did not have the access to them this year.
How is Hunt for the Wilder People not in here?
I don't know. That's really recent. Was that?
Yeah. That was 2016, though. But, I mean, it's in English. It's just New Zealand English.
Still.
I also have seen none of these. I picked The Salesman just as a Robert Frost reference.
Oh.
Nice.
I used my favorite poet, so
Yeah.
I figured, what the hell?
Sure.
I don't think that movie. I don't know that movie has anything to do with that, but there you go. That's my pick.
I also picked The Salesman just because I think a lot of the voting body is just going to be like, oh, somebody made a foreign death of a salesman? I'll vote for that. And they're just going to vote for it.
All right. I picked A Man Called Ove because it's the title that I recognize the most. I've seen the most.
All right.
So I think it's the one that I've seen most talked about. So we'll see.
Cool.
But none of us can inform anything about that because
That's right.
we haven't
Yeah.
seen.
If you've
this
seen
one.
I
any
do
of
like that
these,
Steve and I basically have the same reason for picking The Salesman.
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Sounds like something they're going to vote on.
All right. Des, you want to give us
Film editing.
or maybe it's Steve's turn to say one?
I don't
huh?
know.
Oh, it don't matter.
Okay, Des, go for it.
Arrival,
Uh-huh.
Hacksaw Ridge,
Uh-huh.
Hell or High Water, La La Land, and Moonlight.
What'd you pick?
I picked La La Land.
I'm so surprised.
Well, I mean, I think Arrival had good editing too. I didn't see the rest of these, so I just went with La La Land because I liked it.
Okay.
Me?
Steve, it's you. It's your turn.
I think La La Land will win. I think Hacksaw Ridge should win. I'm no editing expert, but it definitely seemed like there was a whole lot to try to keep track of in there. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they did a really good job, especially during those super hectic battle scenes,
Yeah.
of showing us as many different angles as possible and yet keeping everything in line and in time and that sort of thing.
Yep.
So Hacksaw Ridge.
I picked Hacksaw Ridge
All right.
to win. This is the category I feel the least strongly about. Like, or not that I don't feel strongly about. I don't feel strong about my pick.
All right.
I mean, I could see La La Land winning. In some ways, I could see Moonlight winning because, they're telling these 3 different stories, and if it's not cohesive editing wise, they're not going to feel like they're 3 stories from the same person's life.
Sure.
So in some ways, I could see Moonlight winning. But I picked Hacksaw Ridge for the same reason. I think there's just a lot going on in that film.
But you never lose track of it.
You never lose track of it. I will say, and I don't think this is editing, a problem with editing. I don't know whose feet to lay this blame, but like I think you kind of lose track of who's who a little bit in Hacksaw Ridge if they're not Doss. He's like the one guy who looks completely different. I mean, they call him Scarecrow, right?
Right.
I
thought they called him Skeletor.
Well, they didn't call him Skeletor. They call that one guy Ghoul. But
Hey, don't you remember that one guy's like, I'm from the future, and you look like Skeletor.
So there's something that they did in Hacksaw Ridge. Maybe I should have talked about this during Best Picture, but it's very like over the top. Like it's very like 1940s. Like
Sure.
I'm gonna go win the war for my gal, like kind of a thing to it.
For my God.
And
Save me a kiss, sweetie.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of the performances are way over the top like that.
Sure.
And all of the characters, while they're based on real people, are all real over the top. So you've got Ghoul, who
Right.
does look like a ghoul. Then you got Hollywood, who's like this beautiful specimen of a man, right?
Beefy, like
He's
probably too beefy for the time period.
He's got the Clark Gable mustache,
Yeah.
and then you've got the religious guy. He's a
Can't picture him.
yeah. Well, that's the problem. Then you
Yeah.
got like the Dino from Brooklyn or whatever.
Right.
Then
The
you
short guy.
Then you got the jerky guy. And so they like kind of fall all into these like stereotypical war things.
Yeah.
But then when they're out in the battlefield, they've got all their gear on and they all look the same. You pretty much can't tell them apart unless it's a dude with a pencil mustache,
Right.
or a skinny dude. They all
True.
pretty much look. Even the short guy, you can't tell. They're all hunched over. So you never really know. Like, okay, which guy is this? Okay, this one's hurt. So, and he's talking to him like he knows him. So
Yeah.
it must be somebody from his platoon. But I have no idea which guy this is.
Very good point.
They become sort of faceless in that way. I don't think that's an editing problem, but
Sure, I agree.
So, anyways, that's a long-winded thing about editing. The one I want to win, though, is not Hacksaw Ridge.
No?
I want Arrival to win. I think this is a situation you were talking about earlier. The different elements of like that we don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And I think this is where that was really, really the editing was like crucial to this.
Well, I think
to
it's
the film.
kind of similar
Alright.
to what you were saying about Moonlight, where
Yeah.
there's almost two different stories being told.
Absolutely,
At the same time.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I definitely can see where that's a huge
and
part of this
and there's
movie.
and there's like reveals in the film, multiple reveals, but and if the editing, if they didn't nail the editing,
True.
it's everything is ruined for you like right away.
Yeah.
So
That's also true.
also like the sort of some of this is like how they shot it and the special effects, but like
Yeah.
how they get into the craft and how they presented that timing on that was also crucial. So somebody had a pretty deft hand with the editing. I'd like Arrival to win. I think Hacksaw Ridge will win. Man, we moved over back to the front page.
Back to the front.
We're in the home stretch, my friends.
We've fronted on back.
Who is it? Steve?
By home stretch, do you mean halfway through?
Who is this? Who's doing this one?
I mean, I haven't read in a while.
Steve,
Do
do
it.
it. Documentary?
The nominees for documentary short subject: Extremis, 4.1 miles, Joe's Violin, Watani, My Homeland, and The White Helmets.
Real quick. Extremis, you can stream on Netflix right now.
Cool.
4.1 miles, you can stream on the New York Times site right now for
Also
free.
cool.
And the White Helmets, you can also stream on Netflix right now.
Radical.
So just putting that out there before we get into talking about these. I haven't seen all of them, but what I did see were really, really good. What you got for us? Oh, I passed it off to Des, and she started yawning.
Took a one-way
Sorry,
trip to
it's
Yawn City.
past my bedtime because I'm an old lady.
Calm
What time is
down.
it?
Don't worry
it's
about
like
it.
10
Whoa.
ish.
Or tell him.
Like I said, I'm an old lady.
All right.
Okay, so I saw 2.5 of these.
Yeah.
Um,
I couldn't rewatch one of them completely.
yeah, I mean, even not even 10 minutes of the one that
Yeah.
that you showed me, I don't know that I could have watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it's heavy.
There are the 3 that we watched are all very heavy subjects.
Mhm.
But they're all also about someone trying to do something good in the face of something really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes this kind of a really hard category to pick.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, I picked the White Helmets.
Mm.
I think that documentary tells the most complete story in the time, in the 20 or so minutes.
Yeah, 24 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like Extremis and...
Maybe it was 40 minutes, that one. That was 40 minutes.
40 minutes?
I think
okay.
Extremis was 24, and 4.1 miles is about 20-something.
Yeah. So, Extremis, really good, but it's not like... It's not a story. I mean, it's very like... This happens to a lot of people, and it is what it is kind of a thing. Like, there's very little narrative, I feel like.
Okay.
4.1 miles is almost no narrative. I mean, it is.
It's just straight up documentary. It really is just
really straight up like
we're putting a camera
holding
here.
the camera. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like there's really no narrative. It's extremely hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So hard to watch.
Is that the one on Netflix?
It's one on the New York Times site.
Oh,
yeah. So
People have uploaded 4.1 miles to YouTube.
Yeah.
Please don't watch it there. Just go to the New York Times website. It's still free there. They have a good video player. Give them the support by going to their site instead of watching somebody's recorded version that they threw up on YouTube illegally.
You realize by asking people to go to the New York Times website, you're supporting fake news. New York Times, we need you now more than ever.
Yeah. So Extremis is definitely an issue that I think a lot of people have had connection to. The other 2 are very politically relevant right now.
Okay.
Both here and abroad.
Okay.
I mean, they're about things that are happening abroad, but they're relevant to what's been happening in our country for the last couple of weeks. So, anyway, I picked the White Helmets. I think
it's the one you want to win
it's
as
the
well.
one I want to win. It's the one that I thought was the best of the ones that I've seen, and it's something. It's a cause that anyone can help with, like monetarily.
Cool. And that's on Netflix. Is it?
White Helmets is on Netflix.
I might watch them both tonight.
What'd you pick there, buddy?
I haven't seen any of these,
Okay.
so I picked Extremis because it's fun to say. And I picked Watani, My Homeland, because it's also fun to say, but also it sounds like the kind of thing that's just going to win.
Yeah.
There, I said it.
It's funny.
Watani, My Homeland.
Extremis, fun to say, not fun to watch.
Not fun to watch at all.
It's good. It's enjoyable in the sense that you feel informed. Like you mentioned these, but you didn't really talk about what they were about. Extremis is about.
I feel like it should be a sequel to Tetris.
No, like Iron Man 4.
Sure.
It is about the choice about whether to leave your loved ones on life support or to take them off. It's short. It's only 24 minutes. Thank God it's only 24 minutes, but it covers more than 3 families, but really focuses on 3 families and in one hospital.
Yeah,
pretty much one
doctor.
primary doctor. Yeah. And
Dealing with all these families?
dealing with these families.
Ew, boy.
And sort of the decision and the choice that you have to weigh and do we wait to see if there's any improvement and and sort of the battle that doctors face and sort of the battle that patients face.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's very good. It's definitely worth seeing, and I think it's an important topic, and it's something that people should talk about with their families. Like, if I was in this situation, this is what I would want or what I wouldn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, this is the one that I think of the 3 that I've seen is directly relatable for a lot of people.
Sure.
Cool.
the one I picked that I think is going to win is the White Helmets,
right.
Which is there's an organization called the White Helmets in Syria, who basically they were normal people, carpenters, blacksmiths, teachers, and now that there's bombs raining on their heads all the time,
raining might be too accurate.
Raining might be too accurate. When they see the explosion, they run towards the explosion.
Wow.
And put themselves in harm's way, and to try and dig people out of the rubble and to try to save lives. And it's not really political. And that's what I think is like really great about the White Helmets, and why I think it will win. I think you're right. I think it's the one that feels the most like a documentary and feels the most complete. But it also isn't really political. It's just about these people who are trying to save lives. They're not really taking a stand other than please stop killing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's harrowing, there's I won't get too heavy into spoilers, but there's a moment where they require them to leave, I think like once a year, to do training out of Syria. They go to Turkey. The most of the movie takes place in Aleppo.
All right.
They go to Turkey to do training, and there's these moments where they can't communicate with their families.
Oh, jeez.
And they don't know if bombs are being dropped on their families or not. They know there's bombs being dropped, but they don't know who's been killed.
They don't know
Good
who's
grief.
safe and who's not.
And they've got children, and they've got brothers and sisters and parents, and it's very harrowing and hard to watch. But yeah, I think it's an excellent documentary. I highly recommend it. The one I want to win is 4.1 Miles.
4.1
which is
miles.
One that I couldn't even watch all of it.
Yeah, it's
Is it true that it's 4.1 hours?
no,
Okay.
it's very
It's
short.
like 20 minutes.
It's shot really well for the most part. There's a lot of handheld stuff in it that's shaky and stuff, but I mean, for the situation, it's shot really well. It's about people trying to get from Turkey to Greece, and paying smugglers who put them on these tiny, shoddy rafts that that don't make it the 4.1 miles from one coast to the other.
Wow.
They just need to cross 4.1 miles of water, and it's treacherous and it's cold and it's deadly. And every hour, these boat captains go out in these boats that shouldn't be hauling as many people as they do.
Oh boy.
And they're expected to bring in 200 people out of the water, bring them back, and then
And they're just like, they're like fishing boat.
yeah, they're not Coast Guard.
What the heck?
They're just
They're people
citizens.
they're on the island of Lesbos, and they're just people who see this need and they go out to rescue these people.
Yeah.
And it's like I watched it on my own like late at night, and I had such a hard time sleeping after it because it's so tragic and hard to watch, and
Wow.
it's heartbreaking. And that's why I want it to win, because it's the one that, as raw as the White Helmets is, this is the one that feels the most like these people don't have CPR training.
You were right.
And they're having to pull like drowned children out of the water.
And just do CPR on them. It's really, like I said, super hard to watch.
It really is. But it's short, which is great. It's concise for something this heavy. So I'd love to see it win, but I don't think it will. I think White Helmets will, because it feels like a real documentary. But I really recommend watch 4.1 Miles. It'll be hard to watch. It'll make you cry, but it's absolutely worth it. I will say, what you're going to say?
I just going to say both 4.1 Miles and the White Helmets are really, as hard as they are to watch and as like heartbreaking as they can be, they're also sort of give you a little bit of hope, because they're just,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they're literally about just
Extremist too.
normal people.
Yeah, Extremist too. Like these are all really like terrible situations that are really hard to deal with, and they're very emotional. And I think all three of them at least got me teary eyed. If I didn't cry, they at least got me teary eyed. But they all make you feel like happy that there's somebody in the world working hard to try to fix you, to help you, to make you feel better, or to do something right. Whether it's this doctor who's just trying to help her patients make a good decision that's
Yeah.
good for them, or a boat captain pulling drowned kids out of the sea, or the white helmets who are like carpenters pulling, children and old people out of rubble and doing the hard thing, which is somebody's got to collect the bodies. I mean, and that's it's sad and it's gross, but it's also this harsh reality, and it's actually kind of beautiful and poetic in some ways that these regular people are the ones. Like, you hear this, like, it takes a village to raise a kid, but here's these young people, not all are young, but these young people going out there to give back to the village and to help take care of that village. And I think there's something meaningful in that.
Yeah.
That was documentary short subject.
Steve's ready to move on.
Well, for a short subject, we may have spent the most time on.
No. They're important topics.
Sure.
The documentary stuff are important, so, I don't mind spending a little bit more time on them.
That much is true.
Des, you want to do the documentary feature titles?
Sure. Documentary feature. Fire at Sea.
Mm-hmm.
I Am Not Your Negro.
Mm-hmm.
Life Animated.
Mm-hmm.
OJ Made in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's about Florida, right? Make orange juice.
Orange juice,
there.
yeah.
Orange juice made in America.
Yeah.
I think we all know what that's about. And then 13th. The only one of these that I've actually seen is Life Animated.
Uh-huh.
I did pick it to win just because I think it is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? Some of these could be even more amazing.
Sure.
But I really liked Life Animated. It was heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time.
Yeah, it really is.
Again, very emotional.
It wrecked me for parts of it.
But really good.
Yeah.
Really very good. And, like, good from a narrative standpoint.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's almost like it's the kind of thing that you would see written in a fictional story, but it really happens.
Yeah.
And it's not in a huge, like, fantastical way, but in just like the way that a story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Steve.
seen none of these.
Oh, Steve.
I Am Not Your Negro to win.
Okay.
I think OJ Made in America is going to win because I feel like absolutely everybody I follow on Twitter and everybody I listen to on podcasts has talked about how good that documentary is. So I have a feeling that's going to get a whole lot of votes.
Is that the one that's like 7 parts or something?
It's like 7 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
You
I feel
can
like a lot of people watch that one.
You can watch OJ Made in America on Hulu. You can stream it there in 3 parts. So 2 parts are 3 hours, and 1 part's roughly an hour and something minutes.
All right.
So you said, which one did you say you want? You want I Am Not Your Negro to win.
I Am Not Your Negro to win.
So I haven't seen all of these.
I think just because out of them, that's the one I want to see the most.
Yeah.
And I got to find a place to watch it.
Let me tell you, you tend to. I mean, I know you'll watch everything.
Sir, I sure try.
A lot of times, it seems like you really enjoy watching more like fun, happy stuff.
That's mostly true.
Mostly true. Might I recommend or might I push Life Animated towards the front of your list?
Oh yeah, I'll check that out eventually.
Because what I'm saying is, take it off of the eventually and make it a priority because I think you'll feel really glad that you watched it.
Kind of pushing it back now.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Bird.
That's ridiculous.
I honestly think, Steve, I think you'll get a lot out of it for some of the same reasons that we got a lot out of it.
Life Animated available on Amazon Prime?
Available on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
Okay, so I think normally I was going to say OJ.
Yeah.
I actually think 13th is going to win. I think 13th is having a little bit of a groundswell right now.
That's for sure. And now isn't there some like sequel to it that just came out, sort of?
That I know of.
There's something just hit Netflix that's called like Oprah talks about 13th or something.
Oh, I don't know.
It's not called 14th.
They might have done a.
Nah.
I doubt that since it's about the 13th Amendment, but
I don't.
It's literally some sort of like
it might be an interview with Oprah or
additional
something. I don't
thing
know.
about it. Yeah.
13th is, I think, so I've always been interested in the criminal justice system and our prison system, and I think it's needs to be reformed.
Oh yeah.
I think that this documentary talks about things in a way that makes it easier for, let's face it, I'm a white male and I have a lot of privilege, whether I want it or not.
Sure.
I'm never going to fully understand what it's like to be a minority in this country.
This is true.
And as much as I can understand and hear what people are saying, I can watch documentaries, I can watch the news, I can read the newspaper, but I'm never going to fully grasp how and why some of these things have happened.
Yeah.
And the 13th has done an amazing job of helping me understand it better. Something that I understand on a fundamental level, I understand on an emotional level, I really understand a lot more about the intricacies now. And they present it in a way that, because I'm never going to experience some of these things, I'm able to understand them better now. So I think 13th is a really, really important documentary, and I think it's starting to pick up a little bit of steam. And I kind of think it's the dark horse that's going to sneak up behind OJ and win. Oh, don't make that face for dark horse.
I thought he was making a face about sneak up behind OJ.
Sneak up behind OJ.
Nobody sneaks up on the juice.
Yeah, no. The one I want to win is Life Animated. I think it's I want to talk about it, but I know you so Desi didn't know anything about it going, and another one of these movies I showed her that she didn't know anything about. And like, I'm a big crier, especially in movies.
Maybe just talk about that with your wife when I'm not here.
No, I mean, I definitely am affected emotionally by film.
I cry at movies.
Especially if it's documentary, it's like a true story.
Yeah.
I don't like, I hate bullying. I have a soft spot for special needs people. And the movie started, and I was already crying like 5 minutes into the movie. Aww. And nothing had really happened yet, and Desi's looking at me like, you're an idiot. And
no, that's not true.
And
like, you're an idiot.
I was like, nothing's happened.
Like I'm a freak of nature. And I'm like, it's just that I said to her, I was like, I know what's about to happen.
Yeah. Sort of like why I won't see a dog's purpose.
But well, let me say this. I was crying because I was really happy about what was going to happen. And that's why I'm like, again, Desi doesn't want me to say, because she experienced it having not known really much about it. So I think there's some joy in being really pleasantly surprised with the content of a film.
All right.
Well, I think there's something also to discovering a film as it happens.
As it happens, yeah, because especially in a documentary, they tend to be produced in a way that you are, as they're recounting things in timeline from beginning to end, you're discovering things as they discover these things. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think there's something to it. So I won't say too much more about it. I did post a trailer to it on our Facebook page, but
cool.
But if you want to just be really pleasantly surprised by a really beautiful documentary, watch Life Animated. It's the one I want to win, but I think 13th will win.
All right.
So directing. I'll just
wait. Didn't we already do that?
We kind of mentioned it, but we didn't actually pick. Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. And I'll just start because I already said that I think La La Land will win directing. I picked Moonlight for Best Picture, but I think La La Land will win directing.
Desi?
I picked La La Land. I think that Fantastic Beasts might have a pretty good chance.
Wait, Fantastic Beasts is not directing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped. I'm sorry.
Oh, you skipped.
I picked Arrival for directing.
You picked Arrival for directing. That's cool.
Oh.
I picked Arrival for directing.
I like that. Is that the one you want to win as well?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Steve.
I think La La Land is going to win. I did not pick a want to win because I think of these five, they pretty much all have an equal shot in my book.
I don't want Hacksaw Ridge to win directing. I absolutely do not want that to win.
No. I don't think it's going to.
And I mentioned this to you after.
I don't think there's any chance it will.
Yeah, I have not. I mentioned this to you after the movie. Like, it is not lost on me that a bigot made a movie about a guy who gets bullied. Yeah.
I get you. Yeah.
And Jews are not mentioned anywhere in that film. It's a World War II
Is that
film.
true?
It's a World War II film, and I do not recall Jews being really mentioned in that film.
Wow.
Walt.
Interesting.
Appalled. Look at him.
Whoa.
So, I mean,
Well,
not
like,
terribly
what's that you say?
not terribly surprising because it was directed by Mel Gibson, but
Wow. I tell you what, I'm not going to watch it again to find out if you're right or not.
let's just say if they were, it was very much in passing because it's not a focus. Granted, they
Right.
don't fight Nazis in the film.
Right.
They fight the Japanese,
This is true.
and Pearl Harbor is sort of the thing that spurred this on.
Yeah.
But I find it strange to make a movie. They do show Nazis in an old film reel
Right.
when they're in the movie theater, but it's weird to me to have a World War II film where like Jews aren't really mentioned.
Wow. Interesting. All right. I don't think Hacksaw Ridge is going to win anyway.
I don't think so either.
I think it's pretty clear La La Land is going to win everything.
I'm telling you 9.
Everything.
About 9. Right about 9.
Your money's on 9, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if I picked it for 9 things, but I think it'll be right around 9.
Who would like to read the nominees for Costume Desigan?
Well, since Desi started to give something away on there, let's let her do
Since
it.
I skipped ahead to that one, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, a costume design. Allied, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Florence Foster Jenkins, Jackie, and La La Land. Okay, I picked La La Land.
This is a hard category, actually. Well, interesting. La La Land, huh?
I picked La La Land. I picked, so there's 2 films in here that I think could have a good shot, but I always have a hard time picking films that have a historical plot for costume design, because in a lot of ways they're not being creative in the costume design. I mean, like, they're recreating something that already existed, like for Jackie, for example.
But how does La La Land do that?
It doesn't. What I'm saying is I have a hard time picking things like Jackie or Fantastic Beasts even, because they're based in a historical time, and I think it's harder to be creative with those costumes.
So I'm not saying you made a bad pick, because people love La La Land, and I do think the costume was fine in that. But it felt like normal costume to me.
Yeah,
like
it's present day.
it doesn't feel any like special in any way to me. So like it doesn't inform the viewer anything about the story, right? Or would you disagree?
I would disagree.
Okay.
I think
Fight.
so I think that even though those costumes are, present day clothes, there's a couple of really good examples. The one being the scene where they're getting ready to go to the party, like her and her like 5 roommates or whatever, however many,
Okay.
we all have 5 roommates in LA because it's really crazy expensive.
It was 4 girls living all together.
But not my point.
Yet
Anyway,
they were all alone.
their costumes are all based on modern day party dresses, but they're also very much musical dance dresses. Like, they're like an interpretation of a modern day dress. It's not like they went to Nordstrom and picked out a bunch of modern day party dresses.
Yeah.
Like, they're very specific. The cuts are very much like dance number cuts.
Well, they've got a 40s element to them. Like
The
Ryan
40s
Gosling's
element-
clothes all do.
Yeah.
Emma Stone's dresses all do.
Right. And they're all, I think they did a really good job with the colors in all the costuming.
I will absolutely
in
agree with that.
film.
Sure.
Like, I think that those add to the film immensely and are very relevant, and everything is very much, even though it's modern day clothes influenced by the 40s, there's nothing in that film that's like a Nike t-shirt, which obviously would feel out of place.
Right.
But it's current clothes, but it's not really current clothes.
They're really good points, and I don't want to seem like I'm like poo-pooing what you're saying, because I think you're right. I don't know if that's enough for me. like I can think of a lot of movies that have like really close specific things, like Clueless. I don't think Clueless deserves an Academy Award, but I mean, like, you could argue that the clothing very much influences the characters in the film, right?
Yeah, and it's almost similar to La La Land. It's a very like heightened version of the current
bright
clothing
colors
of that day.
Yeah, and there's something like, you know, I talked about like how there are elements that are of this movie that are influenced by the umbrellas of Cherbourg. You see that a lot at the very beginning, and with the getting ready scene. What is it? In the crowd,
In the crowd.
someone in the crowd.
Yeah, someone in the crowd, yeah.
That definitely has that same kind of feel because of the bright colors and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, if Jackie, for example, which is nominated, I didn't pick, but if they don't nail Jackie O's outfits, that movie becomes something that you can't take seriously anymore. If Allied doesn't nail those period specific things, both in combat and in civilian clothes, then you can't take it seriously anymore. And I feel like I get what you're saying about like it's hard to pick, and this is why I guess the reason why I'm bringing this up is like why I think you should be a little bit more lax on period films is because if you don't do it right, it changes how you see the film greatly. And I'll just jump to my pick. I picked Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them because they did use period 1920 stuff, and I think they did put a twist on those things.
Right.
That sort of Harry Potter world.
Esque.
Yeah, like the really long coat with the tails, but it's probably maybe more like a woman's cut. The hats that they wear.
Yeah, and I think that Fantastic Beasts would be an easier film for me to go, oh yeah, the costume design is great in that. Jackie O, or just Jackie, sorry. Jackie, like you're saying, I'm not saying that that's not a lot of work, that it's not absolutely important to the film. I'm just saying that there's no, I don't want to say there's no creativity, but there's a lot less originality.
I guess my argument is...
Does that make sense?
I guess my argument is which costumes affected the movie in a greater sense. And I think of all of them, La La Land's costumes affected the films the least.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
No,
but
I think your opinion is valid.
I totally get the La La Land thing. I think I really get the color palette thing that they got going on in that. Their use of primary colors, especially for like outfits, is insane and awesome. And you notice it like immediately in the film. And there's a lot to love about it. And I think you make a really good point about how like the cuts are things that look normal but are easy to dance in. I think is a really interesting point that I probably hadn't thought of, but I'm still picking Fantastic Beasts. Steve, what you got?
Well, in true Oscar fashion, we've gone very long, but here we are with costume design.
Oh, boo frickin' who.
We are coming up on the runtime of an actual Oscars broadcast.
No, we're not.
We are not.
It's been 2 hours.
It's
you
okay.
did also add a guest, which means you've got three opinions.
We added a guest,
that's true.
and we're going through every
I have
Oscar.
to take a shit, and we've got 9 more categories to go.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I snuck off to take a bathroom break at
Oh,
one
yeah,
point.
that's true.
So.
You don't want me doing what I have to do in your bathroom. I'm a large man. I have a very big tank.
I just think you need to quit being a
Empty.
big crybaby and get to tell us your pick.
Listen. I am a men's rights activist.
Oh, shut up.
And no, I'm just kidding.
That's it.
I am not at all. In fact, if you are listening and you're a men's rights activist, unsubscribe because I don't need your subscription.
You friggin' crybabies.
I want Fantastic Beasts to win.
Yeah.
Jackie is going to win.
Oh.
The nominees for cinematography
He's
are,
just moving right on. Hey, can I just say something about that?
of course, Jackie's going to win.
Normally, I think I would have picked Jackie.
Yeah.
I for some reason I think there's been a big enough gap in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much different from
That
the modern
is why
day
I
Harry
want it to
Potter.
win. Yeah. Because that's school robes.
Yeah.
In those ones.
I think there's
I do think Wes.
Normally I would pick Jackie.
I do
Probably.
think
Jackie's
you do make
going
a good
to
point
win.
about like that movie isn't Jackie without
Yeah.
I mean, she's such a huge fashion
And-
icon.
and
that
America
it's
has a-
absolutely important.
America has a weird fascination with the 1960s as well.
Well, yeah, and
It's-
I mean, Jackie was like
Specifically
the
with
closest
Jackie.
thing we had to our own like
Princess.
Princess Diana.
Right.
You know, so Jackie's gonna win.
Okay, we'll see.
You'll see. You'll see.
Oh, we'll see.
But I do want Fantastic Beasts to win.
Okay.
Shall I read cinematography?
Yes, please.
The nominees for Best Cinematography in a Motion Picture are Arrival, Lilyland, Lion, Moonlight, and Silence.
Oh no, that's the Martin Scorsese movie.
Martin Scorsese and
Scorsese.
Samurai and Adam Driver and Liam Neeson. All right.
Isn't Garfield?
And
in that?
Garfield. Oh, I hate Samurai Lasagna.
That's the best
Wait,
thing
he'd
that's
love
happened
it,
today.
actually. He
Yeah.
hates Samurai Monday.
He
He
hates Samurai
loves
Monday.
Samurai Lasagna.
Yeah.
Okay, I picked Arrival to win this.
That's a really good pick.
I kind of want La La Land to win it, though.
Okay.
I mean, just from the end scene alone. But I don't know if that's if I'm like so in love with that scene more because of the sets, though. You know,
Sure.
like I don't know if it's cinematography or the sets or both. I want La La Land to win just because it's that scene and the Griffith Observatory scene, which we talked about already,
Sure.
both awesome. I picked Arrival to win, though. I think it might win over La La Land.
Steve.
I want Silence to win,
Okay.
just because it's Scorsese and Samurai.
Yep.
And I think this might be the only category it's nominated in. I think La La Land is going to win. That opening ramp number, that Griffith
I mean, yeah, it's
Observatory.
pretty
Yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, if you think about just when the car drives up to Griffith Observatory,
Yeah.
the interior scenes of that with the pendulum swinging and the Faraday cage.
Yup, floating
I mean-
around in the planetarium.
I gotta. So, by the way, I picked La La Land to win.
Yeah, it's gonna.
The scene. What is it? I don't remember if it's called. Like, it might be a mistake. The scene where after the party, where they're walking to her car.
Yeah.
That whole like song dance number.
Right.
I think is beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot.
It's one of the most beautiful like shots of kind of like boring LA.
Yeah, absolutely.
that I've seen.
They're on a
it is-
dirt.
it is
They're on a
very,
dirt
like,
road looking over the valley.
typical
Hollywood Hills.
Hollywood Hills,
Yeah.
LA. Like we've all been to a party at some place like that.
A little
And-
fancy Disney over here.
No, a party or a shoot or a
Yeah, I know.
whatever. Like we've all been there.
Sure. It's just a not that interesting location,
Right.
Sure.
Um,
but they made it look
but
beautiful.
they made it look really, really interesting and beautiful. I think like going back to like some of the really unique camera work with where he's like sitting in front of that mural or that last sequence, that last dream sequence of the film, the
Yeah.
American in Paris scene.
Yeah.
I
There's
feel
just
like the John Legend concert had some really cool stuff.
John
going
Legend
on,
was really
too.
cool. Yeah, I mean there was
what, but I remember really digging it.
her going into the bar and seeing him for the first time when he's
Sure.
playing, and J. Jonah Jameson's in there giving him a hard time. I think it's all just done so well and so gracefully. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the key to it. So a movie musical is like how graceful is that camera work,
Yeah.
and it's just
you
beautiful.
have to feel like the camera is dancing with
Yeah,
the characters.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Arrival is a really good pick. I think the lighting and the camera work in Arrival is so specific and unique and beautiful, even though it's like stark. Like you think about the
Yeah.
inside of that ship, but like how cool does it look? How cool is the camera work in that? But I think La La Land win. The one I want to win is Moonlight. This theme of like bathing these characters in blue at certain points, I think was like really beautiful. This whole like there's a conversation in there where Mahershala Ali talks about when he was a kid, and the moonlight bathed him in blue, and the woman said, "You're blue, you're blue," and then they utilized that
Right.
as a visual element for the film. I thought was really, really impressive. I also thought the way that they really like shot Little, and really made. I mean, he was a little kid, but they really made him seem little. And even when he was Chiron, he
as a teen,
they still shot him in a way where they're kind of looking down on him a lot. And then when he has his breaking point, it's very low angle, and he's all of a sudden a lot bigger. And then Black is sort of a force to be reckoned with, and he is very big.
Yeah.
And it's just, I thought it was just really smart how they went about shooting the whole thing. So, I mean, I'd like to see Moonlight win, because I thought it was a really soft, delicate touch in a way that, like, La La Land was beautiful and sweeping and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so over the top intentionally, but so over the top that I kind of want something like soft and gentle to win. But
I get you.
Animated film. We got Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia. Desiree.
All right. I have heard a lot of good things about Kubo, so I picked that to win. But I kind of want Zootopia to win, mostly because it's the only one I've seen.
Okay.
But it was really good. I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah.
I think that it is relevant in more than one way. Like, it's not just like a kid's movie. It's not just like a silly movie about animals, you know?
Steve, what you got?
I think Moana is going to win.
Okay.
I want Kubo and the Two Strings to win, just because it looked very exciting, and I've heard extremely good things about it, and I didn't have time to see it. But Moana's going to win.
I picked Zootopia. I think you're wrong. I think Zootopia is going to win. Man, there is this like thread through the entire Oscar nomination thing here this year, where you have really, really relevant topics that are going on in the world right now, and Zootopia is about inclusion and specifically not excluding certain people.
Yeah.
And absolutely women's rights. And I think that while children will miss that, I don't think adults do.
Yeah.
And I think because it's so relevant, I think Zootopia is going to be a winner. And it's a really good film. It's very fun. It's funny.
It does star Emmett Otterton, which was a nice touch.
Emmett Otterton.
It was a very nice touch.
Zootopia also is like, in a weird way, it's weird because it's not. I don't want to say it's about minorities, because it's almost like the majority.
It
is
kind of
actually
is,
the
though.
Well, it's absolutely
population.
It's absolutely about minorities, and like I said, it's absolutely about women's rights and women in the workplace.
But like, it's a weird thing to relate to minority, because it's actually the majority population that's being suppressed in this movie.
Right,
like,
but it's a majority made up of different minorities.
Yes,
Right, but
right,
like remember that, like, kind of like with what's happening now, the majority of the population becomes oppressed by the exclusion of certain people.
Right.
Like, we all suffer when we don't include everyone, or when we exclude certain groups.
Yeah.
And that hurts everyone, all for one particular person's gain.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, again, not to get political, but that's kind of what's going on in this film.
You could say that again. Zootopia predicted November.
You know?
My ear itches.
All right. Des, you want to give us
that.
actress in a supporting role?
Ooh,
Sure.
Come down.
Viola Davis in Fences.
Saw her at a store the other day.
Yeah, you did.
Naomi Harris, Moonlight.
Never met her.
Nicole Kidman, Lion.
Yeah.
Octavia Spencer, Hidden Figures. Michelle Williams, Manchester by the Sea.
What you got?
I think that Viola Davis is going to win.
Why do you think that?
Well,
Because you heard me talking about it so much?
yeah, well, I mean... Okay, so I've only seen a few of these movies. I do think that Nicole Kidman and Octavia Spencer are both really good in the films that they're in.
Absolutely.
I know, probably mostly from you talking about it, that Viola Davis being in this category is maybe a little bit controversial.
Certainly for me.
Controversy.
I think that you and some other people feel that she maybe should have been in the actress in a leading role category, and that maybe gives her an edge in the supporting role category.
Absolutely.
Maybe so. I think that she's going to win. I think that I'd rather see Octavia Spencer win.
Okay.
I
I laughed because I was waiting for you to say Nicole Kidman, and I was going to make like a joke, like, "Oh, you'd rather a white woman win," but you didn't do it, so it threw me off.
Nicole Kidman is very good in Lion, but I feel like it's a very typical, slightly older white woman role.
No, you're right.
Like it's a very typical like mother
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
role. But Octavia Spencer, I think, is funny in this movie. I think she's also strong, like she leads the rest of the supporting women in that movie.
I'm really torn about Octavia Spencer. I really liked her in this. I like her in everything. There's a part of me that thought the character
Even
was
Dinner for Schmucks.
I've not seen Dinner for Schmucks,
Well,
but I mean, I like her in everything I've seen her in.
She's great in it.
There's something that feels like, in some ways, this character was a little bit of a caricature. Like the sassy, wise black woman.
Yeah,
me,
I get that, but
But she's good in it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and I think that I liked the character in general because she's so proactive. Like,
Right.
She knows what her disadvantages are, and she is taking every possible step that she can to not just make sure that she overcomes those, but that
that's a good point.
all the people around her
That's a really good point.
overcome that.
She definitely takes care of everyone in that film.
Yeah, I mean, she,
Well,
like the white ladies in that film are like, well, I guess we're getting replaced by computers. And she's like, no, fuck that. Like,
language.
So sorry.
Nah, I don't fucking care.
So, it may be more that I just like her character, but I think she, I wouldn't like that character as much if she didn't play her very well. So
That's a really great point. Like if I don't want to say a lesser actress, but somebody that didn't give as good a performance did that character, maybe it really would be a caricature. But when you have somebody as talented as Octavia Spencer, maybe it's not.
What if Beyonce played that character?
Maybe it would feel very stunty.
Okay.
yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
I like her, all right.
What if
She's a bit of a force to be reckoned with.
Meryl Streep had played that?
Well, it would have been pretty controversial.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
All right, what you got, Steve?
I think Viola Davis is going to win, mostly because I saw her at the store the other day.
Yeah.
I want Michelle
Fine.
Williams to win just because I've been in love with her since Dawson's Creek, and if I get to watch her accept an Oscar, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I'm that shallow sometimes.
I think Viola Davis is going to win. We've talked about why I have my feelings on this topic already many times. If she wasn't in this,
Yeah.
I think the person that I want to win would win.
Sure.
Naomi Harris from Moonlight. Holy cow. What a transformation for her. Really, really powerful performance. She's the only actress in all three parts of the film.
That's true, huh?
Janelle Monáe's in the first and the last part.
No, she's in the first and the second.
Or first and the second. Yeah, that's right. You
Yeah.
just hear about her in the third part.
Right.
He mentions, or the other guy mentions her, Kevin, or somebody mentions her.
Okay.
So yeah, I really think Naomi Harris would have taken it, but
All right.
and that's who I want to win. I thought Octavia Spencer was fine. I thought Michelle Williams was fine. Nicole Kidman, fine.
Sports Trump.
Interestingly, when you compare the amount of screen time that Viola Davis has, I gotta think that she had much more screen time than a lot of these other women. And like that's sort of what like eats at me is like she got a lot of opportunity to show her range and show her strength. Whereas like
She was
Nicole
literally
Kidman
the
does not.
lead female in the movie.
Michelle Williams is only in like 2-3 scenes of Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
And they're all short scenes.
Right.
Maybe she's in a little more. There's the outside scene where she's screaming, but yeah, she's not in very much, and where she's in, she doesn't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
She does like a couple things really powerfully,
Right.
but she doesn't get a ton.
Yeah,
so
she's a supporting actress in that.
she's really, really supporting, whereas like Viola Davis is
lead.
really a lead.
You can say it.
Yeah, she's really a lead. Steve, you want to give us actress in a leading role?
The nominees for actress in a leading role are Isabel Huppert for Elle, Ruth Negga for Loving, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone for La La Land, and Dame Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins.
She's not a dame, is she?
Viola Davis kept calling her Dame Streep at the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she can be a dame
Because
unless
she's
she's
not British,
from
right?
Britain. Well, I
Yeah,
think she can
UK.
like be damed, but then they're not allowed to say it. Like an American could be knighted, but he still wouldn't be referred to as Sir
Gotcha.
Randy Quaid.
Sir Randy Quaid. That's amazing that you picked Randy Quaid. All right, Des, who'd you pick?
Me? Oh, Desi. Yes.
Desi.
Okay, I think... Okay, I've only seen one of these films.
All right.
It was La La Land, obviously. I just am guessing maybe Meryl Streep will win this, just because I know she's a really good actress.
Interesting.
Like I said,
No, I mean,
have
that's-
not seen any of
that's
these.
She got what? 16 nominations
Yeah.
and 2 wins already.
She is
She's forced to be reckoned
a
with.
perennial
yeah.
Oscar nominee.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I
every
feel
time
like she's.
she acts, she gets nominated.
I feel like she's maybe a safe bet since I
Sure.
haven't seen most of these.
Sure.
I kind of want Emma Stone to win.
Okay.
If for nothing else than her performance of Audition.
You want her to be called 2-time Oscar winner Emma Stone.
Wait, what did she win for
Did
before?
she win for Birdman?
I think so.
Right?
Good grief. I've watched so many Academy Awards, I can't keep it all straight anymore.
Yeah, I mean Audition, that song Audition, like I think she performs it really well, and I think that it could have not been as impactful
Yeah.
if it was not as good an actress.
Yeah.
For sure. I think Natalie Portman will probably win, playing Jackie.
Iconic,
Iconic, real life, a bit of a liberal hero, you could say, being Kennedy's wife and all. I want Ruth Negga to win for Loving, because I think Loving is a very powerful story. It's based on a true story. There have already been, I think, 2 other movies done based on this. I think one was a theatrical release. One might have been straight to TV, maybe a premium channel. I didn't see it, but I really like what she does on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that if she did this and got nominated, she's probably doing pretty good.
For an Academy Award nomination, she kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Like,
I've never seen her until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Right.
and now she's in this, and she's nominated. That says something right there.
Who is she in S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know who this is.
she was
She was in season 1.
the girl in the flower dress that
girl
turns
in
into
the
Oh,
Spiky.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did your both? Yeah.
I did my both.
I just picked Emma Stone.
Giggity.
Just straight picked Emma Stone.
All right.
I don't think I would pick any of these other women over her.
Let me tell you, after
not-
you go see Jackie, you may or may not change your mind. I don't know.
Not necessarily the audition song. I'll tell you what. The scene where Seb comes home from tour and they have dinner and they have the fight.
Yeah, that is a really good scene. You're right.
Sure.
That is what I love about that is she's so true to her character, but shows emotion like we haven't seen for that character the entire film.
I can agree with that.
Except maybe a little bit, you get a little bit of the frustration when she does the original auditions.
Yeah.
But it's a huge turning point for that character, and she just nails the scene, and she nails the whole movie. But that scene in particular, like, really sells it to me. So I just picked just Emma Stone. If Viola Davis was in this category, I would pick Viola Davis over Emma Stone.
Yeah, and she'd win.
Yep. Interestingly,
I've been right here, Troy.
I could actually see a world where she doesn't win supporting actress, Viola Davis.
Right.
And it would be really interesting if she doesn't win, because she absolutely would win if she was an actress. if she was in the
Yeah.
main actress category.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's going to be an interesting Oscars.
I'll do this one, and then Steve, you can do the last one. Actor in a supporting role: Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Jeff Bridges, Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges, Manchester by the Sea, Dev Patel, Lion, and Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals. Des?
I went with Dev Patel on this one, which is an interesting one because he's almost kind of a main character, except that
He's only in like half the film. Yeah.
right, and it's like almost more about the child version of that character.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
interesting.
weird because it's kind of like half and half.
Yeah.
So
No,
is
you're right.
he supporting or is he lead? I guess he's supporting. I guess they support each other. It's a bit of a gray area for me.
Yeah.
But I picked him anyway. I thought he was really fantastic in it. I loved the kid version of him. The
Yeah.
little kid.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say his name because I can't remember
It's okay.
exactly how to say it, but so cute. But also, like, I mean, for such a small child,
Saru.
so, for such a small child,
Snake.
like,
Side. Oh, all
you
right.
really get a lot of emotion out of that kid. I thought,
Yeah.
but he's not nominated. So
Yeah. That's your pick total.
Dev Patel, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I think Mahershala Ali is going to win for Moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
I want Michael Shannon to win for Nocturnal Animals, just because I enjoy his antics and I want to see what he's going to do when he gets on stage to accept an Oscar.
He's really freaking talented, that dude.
Yeah, I just
just
watched
really
Groundhog Day the other day, and I was like, you know what? All the way back then, he still had
I
it.
didn't know he was in Groundhog Day. We had
Really?
this conversation before. I feel like we've had this conversation. Of all things, I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Are you having a Groundhog Day
You know
moment right
Groundhog
now?
Day very well, right?
No, not very well. I've only seen it once.
Well,
when,
at the
when I was like when
very
it first
end.
came out is when I saw it.
At the big party at the very end,
Yeah.
he is in the couple that Phil gives
Don't remember.
WrestleMania tickets to.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
I remember.
well, watch it again. It's
I
always
remember
worth a
Don't Drive
revisit.
Angry.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember.
You don't watch
Your
Groundhog Day every February 2nd?
Step. Watch a Step. It's a doozy. It's that one.
Yeah.
I remember
Stephen
that.
Tobolowsky, baby.
Yeah, but I don't really remember most of it. I remember piano lessons or something.
He takes piano
Yeah.
lessons.
And I remember Andy McDowell on the green screen at the beginning of the film, right?
A blue screen.
Blue
But
screen.
yes.
Yeah, chroma key.
Groundhog Day is like probably one of the most everybody can enjoy this kind of movies ever made.
Yeah.
Watch it every Groundhog Day.
Okay,
Or
Hedgehog
at least
Day.
within that week.
We prefer to call it Hedgehog Day
Yeah.
Why?
Geez, Steve.
because it was originally Hedgehog Day. And
Well,
they
now it's
changed it-
Groundhog
They
Day.
changed it to Groundhog
Well, I think in England it probably
still
still is
Hedgehog Day.
Hedgehog Day.
Oh.
But when Americans adopted it, we don't
We
there's
don't
no
have that many
hedgehogs here.
hedgehogs. We're a
Well, there weren't
groundhog
then.
nation.
So yeah, they changed it to a.
Day. I had a hedgehog.
Hey, the New York Yankees used to be the Baltimore Orioles. Things change, bro. Watch Groundhog Day.
You're just making stuff up.
Look
now.
into it, man. I lost a trivia. I lost $10,000 at a trivia contest a couple weeks ago because of this darn what team used to be which team. And according to them, the New York Yankees used to be the Baltimore Orioles. And one team got it all right, and they won $10,000.
All right. So
All right.
was that your two?
Jerks. What did I say?
Mahershala Ali.
Yes,
and Michael
Shannon. Yes.
I just picked Mahershala Ali. I really hope I'm saying his name right.
Sounds right.
I just thought his performance was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked sort of the duality of his character that sounded really like pretentious.
Yeah.
I liked that he played sort of a little bit of a thug, like he played like a drug dealer guy, and
Yeah.
at the same time he played a guy who just really cared about a young man and him being taken care of, like having the right kind of care.
Right.
And kind of like Emma Stone, there's like one moment that really sold me, and that's also at a table. When Little asks him if he's the one who sells crack to his mother.
Yeah.
And just this like moment that like he knows he's doing the wrong thing, but it's like who he is at this point.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, you can tell he doesn't think he can change, but the conversation about being blue, teaching the kid to swim, which from what I understand, he actually was teaching the real kid how to swim. The real actor.
Wow.
He didn't know how to swim.
Teach your kids to swim, everybody. It's
But
important.
yeah, but I just think it's kind of
Save
sweet
their lives.
that kind of happened in the movie.
That's
that
awesome.
They caught it on film. Yeah, there's again, Moonlight is one of these movies that's sort of about this like hard criminal, rough thing, but like they shoot these true, real Miami neighborhoods that are really like poor, definitely like drug influenced and prostitution influenced neighborhoods. They're the real neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They really shot them, but everything is a soft touch in this film. They still found a way to like make them look like Miami, and they still found a way to make them look beautiful and like kind of bright and colorful. I'm talking about the movie in general now, but I thought along with that, Mahershala Ali was very light in how he dealt with this character, like very, very thoughtful and considerate. So he's my pick.
All right. Actor in a leading role?
Do it.
Do it, Steve.
The nominees.
It's our last one.
And our final category for the night for actor in a leading role are Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea, Andrew Garfield, Hacksaw Ridge, Ryan the Ling Gosling, La La Land, Viggo Mortensen, Captain Fantastic, and Denzel Washington, Fences.
Desiree, last chance. What you got?
All right. Just because I have heard so much about it, I haven't seen it, but just because I've heard so much about it, and I know that this movie is so dialogue heavy and so focused on such a small amount of characters, I picked Denzel Washington, Fences.
Okay.
This is going to come as a huge surprise.
Uh-huh.
Of these five, the most deserving of a leading actor Oscar is Denzel Washington in Fences.
Yeah.
Casey Affleck, a pretty close second, but there's a lot of controversy around him right now.
Yeah, Affleck was really good in it.
Yeah, he did great work in that movie, but the bottom line is Washington's going to get it. If he doesn't, I will be extremely surprised.
I also picked Denzel Washington. I agree. Casey Affleck is probably like a close second. Viggo Mortensen is really good.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with Ryan Gosling. I mean, I always like Ryan Gosling, but like the fact that he learned how to play all the songs.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, as an actor, he
did all his own dancing, right?
Yeah, as an actor,
did all his own flying in that one scene.
Not as much.
I heard they learned to fly.
As an actor, that's like putting in the work is really, really important. And in some senses, I really like Ryan Gosling, but I don't think he has a chance in this category.
Yeah, with the other nominees.
Andrew Garfield is so over the top in Hacksaw Ridge and so kind of hokey that like it would be hard for me to see him winning. I hear he's way, way better in Silence.
All right.
I don't think it's Andrew Garfield's fault, though.
Sure.
I think it was intended to be over the top. So in some ways, it's like, well, it's what it was intended, so maybe you should get it. But I think Denzel has them beaten, hands down. Kind of what Desi said. A lot of dialogue, and the way he delivers it, he's freaking Denzel Washington. He knows how to deliver a line.
Right.
That movie's all about conversation. So, yeah, go Denzel.
All right.
That's
Go
it.
for it. That's
we did it.
We got through all 19 categories.
And if you were playing at home, sorry.
Well, also be sure to watch the Oscars and find out who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we're all right in some ways, I bet. We all get some of these things right.
When it turns out who wins, then we'll know when we're right and wrong.
I'd be surprised. It'd be really interesting if one of us got every single one of them wrong.
I mean, it was me. I got every single one of them
No,
right.
you didn't get every single
I
one.
can see the future.
You voted
was.
for La La Land enough that you're going to get one of them right.
I remember being at an Oscar party a few years ago where somebody broke out the score sheets.
Yeah.
And I filled mine out real quick before it started. And I think I got all the performance ones and directing and whatnot and writing right.
Yeah.
But I didn't get editing or costume and any of that right.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've ever got.
We have in the past done a system like this, but assign points to it.
Oh.
So you get let's say you get 3 points for a correct pick.
All right.
But 1 point for your want if your want gets picked instead. And if you did both of them, then you get 4 points. If it's the same pick.
That's pretty kick-A.
Yeah, it's fun to do it that way.
I agree.
Well, let's draw out of the bucket.
Oh, yeah.
The bucket. Can I do it?
Where's the bucket?
Yeah,
Oh, there
you can
it is.
do it.
I'll let you read it, but I want to pull it out of the.
I'll let you read it. Hold on. Let me get it for you here.
Okay.
I like to get the microphone in there.
I know you. I gotta get all up in this bucket.
Get all up in this bucket. You got a biscuit.
Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Is the anticipation killing you?
I don't know if I'm ready.
Not yet.
I don't know if I can handle it.
I mean, I kind of.
It's Dune. Just kidding.
Boy, my wife is just pushing buttons
Now
tonight.
I know why we all get along.
It is Tootsie.
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 I've never seen Tootsie.
Never ever.
Never seen Tootsie.
Dustin
I don't
Hoffman.
think I've seen it either.
Terry Garr.
Uh-oh. We're too loud. Uh-oh. Our roommate's trying to sleep. We're about to end this podcast. Sorry, buddy.
Never seen Tootsie.
Never seen Tootsie.
Dabney Coleman. The
Yeah.
chief from Carmen Sandiego.
Okay. I know her.
Bill Murray.
Uh-huh. I didn't know Bill Murray was in it.
I already said Terry Garr. Gina Davis.
Okay.
And you've never seen Tootsie.
Never seen Tootsie.
Does Gina Davis indeed have? Does she have Betty Davis eyes?
Oh. I don't know if it's possible to tell because she spends a lot of the movie in her underwear.
So what you're saying is
I don't think
you
too
weren't
many-
looking at her eyes.
I don't think anybody was looking at her eyes. Not that they aren't lovely eyes, but I just don't know if they're Betty Davis eyes.
What? Why are you looking at me like that, Wes?
Reference not
She
approved.
does have Greta Garbo standoff size,
Okay.
but might not have Betty
Let's
Davis eyes.
let's end this thing before the roommate kills us.
All the boys do think she's a spy.
All right. Steve,
Everybody watch the Oscars.
and then watch Tootsie.
Watch Tootsie. Be sure to view the right thing.
Tweet at us at VTRT Movies.
Yes,
you
or
can
tweet
also
it-
see our Instagram there.
Tweet at me solo at Steve in North Hollywood or Steve in No Ho Wood.
No host stands
I
for North Hollywood,
like
guys.
tweeting a lot. What else is there?
That's about it.
Fight the Power?
Fight the power.
The power.
Oh man, Radio Raheem. Okay,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
we're gonna no, stop it. We're calling it, everyone. Have a good night or good day, night, whatever you're watching this. Enjoy some movies and fun cinema.